51.
Good evening. This is Chris Felicki of Janney Montgomery Scott here in Uniontown, bringing you today's closing stock market report. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 81.4 points, closing at 44,193. The Nasdaq Composite was up 252.9 points, closing at 21,169. And the S&P 500 index was up 46.3 points, closing at 6,345. Among companies of local interest, Apple, $213.27, up $10.35. Amazon, $222.30, up $8.55. Cisco, $69.21, up $1.69. Boeing, $225.10, up 24 cents. Caterpillar, $427.82, down $6.42. Disney, $115.17, down $3.15. ExxonMobil, $106.56, down 68 cents. First Energy, $43.42, down 10 cents. Johnson & Johnson, $170.62, down 12 cents. Home Depot, $386.86, up $1.45. Intel, $20.41, up 22 cents. McDonald's, $307.54, up $8.77. Meta Platforms, $771.99, up $8.53. PNC Financial Services, $188.61, down 38 cents. Raytheon Technologies, $155.77, down 56 cents. Rockwell Automation, $328.70, down $17.30. Tesla, $319.91, up $11.19. Verizon, $42.35, down 31 cents. Walmart, $103.37, up $4.06. Recapping, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 81.4 points, closing at 44,193. The Nasdaq Composite was up 252.9 points, closing at 21,169. And the S&P 500 index was up 46.3 points, closing at 6,345. From the Uniontown office of Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC, where we serve all your investment needs. This is Chris
The Mariscati Insurance Agency is an independent agency serving clients in California and surrounding areas. Mariscati Insurance offers auto, home, business, and life insurance coverage. Stop by their office at 324 3rd Street, California, PA, or give them a call at 724-938-9302 for your quote.
Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors, where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items, including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
Chris Parker Jr., what's going on at Autoland?
The Hyundai Getaway sales event is back, and so is 0% financing. Get away with a fantastic deal on a great new Hyundai. Here at Autoland, we're lowering prices on the 25s before the 2026 Hyundais arrive, and offering above Blue Book value on all trades. All this, plus incredible incentives and financing offers from Hyundai.
I'm listening.
We still have a great selection of those 25 all-wheel drive SUVs with the 0%. The full-size luxury third row 2025 Palisade and the redesigned third row 2025 Santa Fe, both with an amazing 0% financing for 60 months. Or choose up to $3,500 off HMF bonus cash on select Santa Fe. Check out the fuel-efficient 2025 Hyundai Elantra SE with 2.99% financing or lease for $229 per month.
Plus Hyundai owner assurance, America's best warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection with every new Hyundai purchased, and 3-year, 36,000-mile free complimentary maintenance. Autoland Hyundai, downtown Uniontown, or visit their website at AutolandHyundai.com.
You always pay less to drive the best at Autoland Hyundai.
Black and gold up on their feet, terrible towels swirling.
When you listen here, you get all the excitement of Steelers football.
Touchdown, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Rob King brings you the play-by-play along with Max Starks and Missy Matthews.
Where would you rather be?
The only place to be on game day is the Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.
Football is back. The Steelers open up the preseason slate against the Jaguars in Jacksonville Saturday, August 9th at 7 o'clock on your Steelers station, WNBS.
It's the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. That is Nick Barczyk. Nick, you've been working long days today, huh?
Want to call this work as a insult to people who actually work. I read a few newscasts and ran a Pirate game. Actually, our intern Luke ran most of the game, so
all right, Luke.
I've been out of. I've really been out of it most of the day. What's been going on?
The Lukester.
That's right. Well, there you go.
The
I'm not sure he
Lukometer.
wants to be called
The
that.
Lukinator.
There you go. The son you never had and always wanted, right?
Oh, yeah.
You tried to adopt him the last time he was on
I
the
did.
air.
I tried to do that.
Yeah, you can't adopt me because I'm like 30 now, but I'm not sure. I'm sure Luke's underage.
You're like 30 now?
Something like that.
Oh, okay. It's always good when you throw the word like in. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you
Right.
want me to say, Doug?
No, I don't care what you say. You can say anything you want.
Oh, I do. I have.
Absolutely.
Well, I meant like as in, it was to be joking because you can't adopt a grown man.
Right.
That was the joke.
Right. No,
I wasn't saying like the way teenage girls use it.
Yeah, or a lot of people on radio.
That's
for that
true.
matter.
Oh my goodness, a lot of people. Not us.
Like.
Well, there's that.
And like in that,
Yeah.
One
Yins,
of those things.
Y'all.
Yins is good.
Yins
Y'all's
is
good.
great. I use that all the time.
Yin.
When you go out of state and use yins, oh, that's a Pittsburgher. They know immediately.
Right. And Pittsburghers frown on those who say it. But if you go down south, if you frowned on somebody saying y'all,
oh, there's a riot.
You'd never hear the end of it.
Absolutely. Grits as well. They don't. They have grits down there.
How y'all doing? And if you have a good Boston accent and a New York accent, for
those
some
are
reason,
disgusting. The Boston accents are the worst, I think. It's just gross.
You think
Well,
it
the
is?
British accent. It's sophisticated. It's lovely and lilting and also annoying and grating all at the same time.
You don't hear lilting much.
No. I made up for it after saying like.
Yeah,
figured I'd throw in a good word in there.
I was I did an interview with Channel 2 a while back.
Oh, boy.
I forget. It was with John Delano, who's going to be a guest of ours today, by the way, later in the show.
John Delano.
I don't know if you'll be around by then, because at some point you're leaving today.
Eventually.
And I'm going to work the board again, and I haven't done that in a while, so we'll see how that that works.
Management's very nervous.
That's right. I would be too. I think the FCC is monitoring right now to see what Doug does when he's on the board. Well, I was interviewed by John Delano. This is several years ago when they changed the dress code to get on the floor of the Senate as a favor to John Fetterman. And
yes, you can wear shorts and hoodies now on the floor of the Senate.
Did they undo that now that the Republicans are running the show? I don't know.
But don't you love it took a Pennsylvania senator to
make that happen?
Lower the standards for dress?
I was asked what I thought about that, and I said, well, casual dress is very much a thing. I remember many years ago instituting casual Fridays at an office I managed, and that was a popular thing. Then it was casual every day unless, you had a meeting or something like that.
Well, there's a difference between your office and, of course, a radio station and the United States Senate.
Yeah, where was I going?
If I was a senator, I'd wear a tie and a suit.
Where was I going with all this?
I don't know.
Something about being casual. How did that come about?
I don't know.
We're talking about just casual, or
who knows, Doug?
Anyway, and I
just because you start a story doesn't mean you have to end it.
Wording, goofy words you use. You use lilting. I don't know how I
Lilting.
made this connection. I said even the Tony Duquesne Club that you can now go in there in a golf shirt during the day before 5 o'clock on the first floor only.
Tony, I like
Somehow I made that connection between these two things.
Yeah, Tony's a odd one.
Yeah, you don't hear Tony a lot.
And good, rightfully so.
Rightfully so. That's right.
Lilting's better. I like lilting. I don't know where that came from.
With you till 8 o'clock tonight. Coming up at 5:35, we're going to check in with Jim Bonner. He was a guest many years ago. He's now the retiring executive director of the Audubon Society. So we thought we'd check in with him. The new director comes in next month. We'll talk to him when he arrives. But we're going to talk to Jim about his many years with the Audubon Society, the goals program, etc.
That's birds, right?
It's birds.
Audubon Society. Aviation, yes.
Birds.
Not aviation in an airplane.
Well,
but
aviation for a bird.
That's right. Oh, I love birds.
Audubon Society. We'll talk to him. But before that, a very serious matter. Horrible situation at Fort Stewart in Georgia today. A sergeant shot five of his fellow soldiers.
Jeez.
So we're going to check in with CBS correspondent and anchor Matt Piper, get the latest on that. So all that coming up in the first hour of the afternoon drive show. But again, we're with you till 8 o'clock tonight. Of course, the Pirates played this afternoon. They lost.
Oh.
Blew it in the ninth.
Shocker. Yeah, they hung in there. They swept the Giants last week, lose 2 out of 3 this week. But what are you going to do? They have the Reds this weekend. Skeens is pitching tomorrow. Keep Ryan Hayes returns. He's been gone a whole week. I hope he remembers where the stadium is.
I think he'll be okay.
Yeah.
Why was he gone?
He got traded.
That's right.
Are you testing me?
Yes, it was.
Or you just didn't know? You don't know who that is, do you?
Yes, I do know who Brian Hayes.
You could name the whole 1960 and 71 roster, I'm sure, but you probably couldn't name 3 players on the current team.
I might be able to name 3.
But you listen when you're driving home. Of course, you're listening to WMBS.
Of course I am. Absolutely.
As you try to get a sip in there. Did you take a drink there?
I didn't. No, because I was worried.
Go ahead. I'll keep talking.
Okay, keep talking.
What do you have in there?
Drink. You know, anytime
it's whiskey, allegedly.
Anytime that I take a drink, that's a perfect opportunity for our listeners to take a break too and have a drink.
That's right. Take a sip break. We'll get that sponsored. Nice.
There we
refreshing.
Go. All right.
What do you got there? Coffee?
It's coffee. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Hot coffee? Oh, that's so gross.
Is coffee
Especially
gross?
on an 80-degree day. I don't like hot liquids. I'm like a Mormon.
Mormons
anyway,
don't like hot liquids?
They don't, no. You didn't know that? That's part of the.
Well, I know
that's
they
part
don't.
of the doctrine. Like Catholics don't eat meat on Friday. No, that's old news now.
What's not? They still do that during Lent.
They still enforce that.
We still do. I should say not. They.
Oh,
we.
you do. I don't know. Speak for yourself.
But there was a time when Catholics never ate meat on Fridays.
Yeah.
And my mother would tell stories that they would gather in the kitchen at 1:45 on Thanksgiving to have a cold turkey sandwich because they couldn't eat meat the whole next day.
Oh my gosh, that ruins the day after Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah, so
dinner,
what is the rule? So if you stay up past midnight on a Friday, can you have a sandwich at 10 after midnight?
I don't know. If you bounce on one foot looking at a full moon, can you? All these rules that we impose on ourselves.
If the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars,
I like that.
Peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars.
That's beautiful.
What lyrics? What song is that?
That's not from the back of the Budweiser bottle.
No, that's not the back of the Budweiser bottle.
Or the Yukon Jack. You've quoted that on the air.
Not that one either. No.
Oh boy, what is that from? I don't know.
It's from the Age of Aquarius.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's the Age of Aquarius.
That's an oldie but a goodie.
Coming up here in a moment,
right.
We're going to check in with Matt Piper. That's one of those sneaky little radio things that gets Nick to dial the number right now. And Matt Piper will be joining us in just a few moments. As I mentioned, Jim Bonner joining us at the bottom of the hour. John Delano is going to join us during the 6 o'clock hour. Talk about gerrymandering. You may have heard this issue in Texas. Well, the history of gerrymandering goes back hundreds of years in the United States. So we're going to check in with him. It's been used on both sides of the aisle over the years, especially depending on who controls the legislature. So we're going to check in with John Delano about that coming up. But first, joining us on the WMBS Newsmakers line, CBS News correspondent and anchor Matt Piper. Matt, horrible situation today at Fort Stewart in Georgia. A sergeant shot 5 of his fellow soldiers. None of them were killed, but they're in, I guess, a guarded condition. And I guess the justice system for a soldier doing this on a military installation, this does not fall within the standard criminal procedure, correct?
Right. I mean, this is someone who was still essentially on that, in that fort still, on the base, in terms of trying to go through the protocols of what happens through the Army at first before heading to, say, a county jail or something. So this is all very much in the military and the government for now, before he's, for lack of a better word, paraded like outside like a perp walk or something. It's still very much all happening on that base, which is huge, by the way. I mean, there's thousands of people on that base.
Yeah, this is not a small location. You hate to hear anybody getting shot, but this is such a shocker that a sergeant would shoot 5 of his fellow soldiers. Certainly, he knew that he was not going to do this and get away. You don't exactly get off a military base easily. Is there any indication of a motive at this point? Has that been have they been able to release any information as to why this may have occurred?
No, this brigadier general who spoke in the last 2 hours or so said that they still do not have a motive. I mean, obviously, I'm sure that they've talked to him. They've asked him what was going on, and they probably do, know something. They're just not yet letting the public know. We know that, how he said it was this was his coworkers that he did this to. So these were people that he knew. These were people that he maybe worked with every single day. This maybe was one of those office shootings, where who you're going after, and Lord knows what the motive is, and there shouldn't even be, a motive for any of that. But that's what they're saying here, that this was essentially a workplace shooting. It just so happened to be on a military installation.
Yeah, there's an indication whether it's military justice that will kick in on this. And I remember many years ago, my gosh, I think about the last shooting between fellow members of the military on a base. But that did go, I guess, to the criminal justice system, the civilian criminal justice system. But I guess that takes the next step down the line, right? He is being held at the fort right now, and then those are the next steps, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, the military justice system is obviously within the armed forces, and that's who's dealing with this now, since that obviously applies to anyone who's in the military. It's separate from the civilian legal system, although once we find out more and once maybe police or higher-up government officials get involved, they might intertwine or interact with each other so that it eventually turns to the civilian legal system. We just don't know yet in terms of how this investigation is going.
We're talking with Matt Piper about the shooting today at Fort Stewart, Georgia. And you mentioned some information I wasn't aware of. These were actual co-workers. It's not as if he went to another part of the base. These are individuals that I guess he dealt with on a daily basis.
Yeah, they said that all of them worked under the 2nd Armored Brigadier Combat Team there at the Georgia base. So this was an Army sergeant, a 28-year-old who was originally from Florida, who is based at this Fort Stewart in Georgia. And yes, he opened fire on his coworkers, is how the Brigadier General explained it. So yeah, this is obviously someone who I guess knew the people that he took aim at, and luckily they've all survived. But obviously, it seems to me that after it started, the Brigadier General said that some other soldiers essentially tackled this guy and prevented, further loss or further harm.
Yeah. A horrible situation. More to come on it, no doubt. Matt Piper, CBS News correspondent, anchor, thanks so much. We appreciate your reporting on this for us today.
Sure.
Yeah, weird situation. Good heavens, when you hear something like this, you don't want to see a shooting anywhere, but among fellow soldiers on a military base like this, people who've worked together. Apparently he used his privately owned handgun. Not that would matter one way or the other, but again, a very strange situation here, Nick, to see something like that happen. It's one of those stories that when I first saw it today, it bounced up on the internet. I got a second source. I'm like, that's one of those things you don't suspect.
Yeah, it was odd when I saw it.
Shocked to see something like that occurring. We're going to hit the CBS News update. Perhaps there'll be more information at 5:31. Then we come back, really changing subjects. Going to talk about the Audubon Society. They have announced a new executive director coming in. He starts next month. We're going to talk to retired executive director Jim Bonner. We spoke. It's been life flies by. When I looked at my show notes, we haven't talked to him in 4 years. Wow. And that worries me when life goes that quickly, for heaven's sakes. It's kind of strange.
It's upsetting. It is.
Yeah, it's rather bizarre. I bumped into somebody the other day. We figured out, and we had this conversation like we've been hanging out together. We figured we had not seen each other in 17 years.
Oh, my goodness. And, I'm sure you caught up. Married, no. Kids, yes. That's a great scene from an old sitcom because they were comparing men and women when they meet up, and the women were talking and talking and talking, and the two men got together first time in 30 years, and the one said, "Married, no. Kids, no. We're caught up." Yeah, that's all you need to know.
I always joke about when women see each other, like, hey, their voices get really high.
Oh, they're so excited.
The men on the other hand, hey, man, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh, yeah.
And when they call their dads, their voices get lowered, too. I've noticed.
Really, really lower. CBS News is next on WMBS. Stick around. We'll be right back.
CBS News Brief. 5 soldiers were shot today at Fort Stewart in Georgia. The suspected gunman, an Army sergeant.
Soldiers in the area that witnessed the shooting immediately and without hesitation tackled the soldier, subdued him, that allowed law enforcement to then take him into custody.
General John Lubis, the injured soldiers are in stable condition. President Trump called his envoy's talks with Russian President Putin very productive and then leveled more tariffs on India for buying Russian oil. CBS's Olivia Gazis.
Its imports of Russian crude have gone up significantly since the start of the war. It's unclear at this point whether this is the sum or the start of punitive measures that President Trump may take vis-a-vis Russia or India or China.
The Department of Homeland Security has removed age limits for new immigration enforcement hires. Applicants could be as young as 18. CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
Concerned about your heart health? At WVU Medicine, we believe your heart deserves world-class care, close to home and always within reach. Our non-invasive cardiology team uses advanced tests like stress tests and cardiac MRI to to diagnose and monitor heart conditions without surgery. Call 877-WVU, the number 4HRT, or visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
This is attorney Michael Mays of the Davis & Davis Law Firm. We have been helping injured people just like you recover millions of dollars for over 45 years. If you're hurt or injured, I want to meet you and make sure you get the money that you deserve. Call me at 724-437-2799 for your free consultation. The Davis & Davis Law Firm has been protecting our neighbors in Greene and Fayette counties for over 45 years. Go to davisanddavislaw.com or call 724-437-2799 for your free consultation.
Oak Pizza in downtown Uniontown is your one-stop shop for the most unique pizzas in the region. From the masterminds behind the Fat Angelo's franchise, Oak Pizza is the laboratory where the Fat Angelo's food scientists test their creations and let you be the judge. With traditional favorites like pepperoni and buffalo chicken pizzas to more experimental offerings like the sesame seed-infused Mad Pie or the spicy chicken pickle pizza, Oak has you covered. Order today at oakpizzas.com or by calling 724-439-5805. Your taste buds will thank you.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Well, warmer days are ahead, the kind of days when you'll be enjoying your deck or patio again, especially with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturers and customer guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Lifetime Awnings, 724-554-6067. Call for a no-cost or obligation home consultation or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
Bad hair day? Bad day at the office? Bad day behind the wheel? Hey, stuff happens, even to the best of us. At least your car insurance rate doesn't have to take a hit. Get Erie Rate Lock from Erie Insurance. Gives you a great rate that stays put until you change a car, driver, or your address. Plus, seriously good service. Now that's something to smile about.
Your Erie agent in Uniontown and Ross Traver Township is Sprowls Insurance Group, 724-437-9812, or go to sprowlsinsurance.com.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Hi, I'm Josh Krysak. Bill Madden will join me at the National Pike Steam Horse and Gas Association show on Saturday, August 9th from 12 to 2 p.m. in Malden, PA. Stop out, win some great prizes, and take in everything the Steam Horse and Gas Show has to offer. Our coverage of the National Pike Steam Horse and Gas Show is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, attorney Lisa J. Boudet, Lifetime Awnings, the Mariscotti Insurance Agency, Tri-County Heating, Lacey's Auto and Truck Repair, and Mutt's on Market Street. We will see you there.
I just mentioned that we tend to play this song quite a bit. It's called Liner Music. You come out of a break. I don't like to take responsibility for things, but I was the one that first started doing liner music around here. Now, I mean, that's amazing, for heaven's sakes.
You were the first one.
I was the first
one.
At
this station or the history of radio?
Well, I think at this station.
Yeah, I think Larry King might have done it before you.
I think they did it like 95 years ago.
That's right, yeah.
On the Big K.
The Big K,
yeah.
When they were giving the Harding Cox election returns.
But if I could at least take credit for something lame, that would be it.
Well, liner music's a pretty lame, Doug. Pretty low bar.
That's right. And we can't play them more than 30 seconds. Somebody once asked, why don't we play them longer? You can't.
Well, no. I mean, but we do play music here, but we just not during the talk show. I mean, we could.
Exactly. But there's also rules about playing it too much when you're on Facebook Live, right?
That's right. They shut us off.
Yeah, that happens.
We don't want that.
No,
people want to look at you.
We don't want to get. Yeah, nobody wants to look at me, frankly. But if you are, welcome to joining us
You're
on
pointing
Facebook
at them.
Live. I'm pointing at them. That's rude. And I was looking at the website for the Audubon Society of Western Pennsylvania, and they talk about connecting people to birds and nature since 1960. Now, our next guest has been executive director for quite some time. He's retiring shortly. I don't think he's been around since 1916. I'm not entirely sure, but we're very pleased to welcome to the Afternoon Drive Show on the WMBS Newsmakers Line, Jim Bonner. Jim, thanks for joining us. It's been many years since you and I spoke on the air. When I looked it up, I'm like, good heavens, why did it take so long for me to call you back? You're retiring now, so congratulations on your career.
Well, Doug, thank you so much. I'm glad you got me before I left.
That's right, because then we have trouble tracking you down, because
yes.
you'll be out and about. But this organization's been around now. Is that the Western Pennsylvania Audubon Society's been around since 1916, or the overall Audubon Society?
That's ASWP. So the Western Pennsylvania one was formed back in March of 1916, and actually there was another group in late 1914. It was the Audubon of Sewickley Valley. Got started a little bit before then, and the two merged a few years later, or not a few years, actually. I think it was closer to the 60s. They had become quite a bit smaller and just kind of was absorbed into the Western Pennsylvania group. So we kind of have several birthdays, but the March 20 or 1916 is the one that we always look towards.
Yeah. And so much of that, of course, followed the Teddy Roosevelt administration, who was so very committed to the environment, created some of the first national parks, et cetera. A lot of that grew out of that presidency. And the fact that your organization is still thriving 109 years later is thanks to folks like you and endless volunteers. I can't imagine if you could even figure out how many volunteers you've had over the years and the amount of time they put into it. That's really how an organization like this thrives, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we were an all-volunteer organization up until the very early 80s. And so for a large part of our history, we were all volunteer. And then in the very late 70s, early 80s is when Beechwood Farms Nature Reserve was established. And that's when we had our first employee. And so we just had a couple of employees back then. And for a few years, there were just two or three. And then over the years since then, we've grown.
Yeah, it's interesting. Everybody's heard of the term Audubon Society. I think there'll be very few of our listeners who haven't heard of it, but some may not fully understand what the Audubon Society is. So why don't you take a moment, if you don't mind, to tell us what the society is and what your goals are, what you do.
Sure. Well, first of all, the name Audubon Society comes from the artist John James Audubon. And although he was long dead by the time the first Audubon chapter came to being, his book, The Birds of America, was such a seminal piece. And these days it's hard to imagine how popular that was at the time. But there are entire towns, there's counties, there's hundreds of roads, there's school districts, and just, again, hundreds and hundreds of parks throughout the country, all named Audubon. Just because his book, which illustrated all the known birds in the U.S. at the time, people had never seen anything like that. So in many ways, the word Audubon far exceeds the man, and he was certainly a man with an interesting and troubled legacy. But the term, people just became synonymous with birds. And that's because back in the turn of the last century, it was very common to use bird feathers and birds' eggs and other parts of birds in hats. So it was part of the millinery trade, and there was a great concern for how many were being killed at the time for doing that, and a couple of ladies up in Massachusetts said, hey, we should stop this, and they decided to create an organization that was going to be for bird protection, and looking for the best-known bird name at the time, they chose Audubon for doing that. And that's kind of how it got started. And then over the next 10, 15 years, Audubon chapters or groups or societies started forming all around the country. And it was a very grassroots, from the bottom up kind of thing. And it wasn't until a number of years later that it became an Audubon Association, that kind of connected a number of the chapters with each other, and then eventually the National Audubon Society got formed. And so, like many organizations over the years, the priorities and focus have changed, but throughout it all, birds have been at the forefront of anything dealing with Audubon. And,
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go right ahead.
And mainly, birds are just so popular. They cross just about every demographic, whether you're talking age or gender or race or socioeconomic or anything. You find people that like birds. And so they're a great thing to help connect people, get them excited, get them connected, and, spur them on to do other things that would be good for the environment.
Yeah. The idea of having birds in one's house was a very big thing for many years. And, people still have birds, of course, and there's pros and cons about that. But growing up, we always had a bird in our house. My grandmother loved to have a bird. I think it was a sign of sophistication, perhaps. I'm not quite sure. But it was a very, very common thing to do, and we weren't allowed to do anything with the feathers. That was a rule. They had to be properly disposed of, as my grandmother would say back then. She didn't want them used for anything else, and when they naturally came off, the birds. Now, Beechwood Farms Nature Reserve, which you mentioned, has a very interesting history. I guess it's a property owned by a state senator at the time. It went from his farm after he retired to be part of the Audubon Society, correct?
Correct. Originally it was a farmstead developed by Senator William Flynn, and people in the northern part of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County are familiar with William Flynn Highway. That's Route 8. But he was a state senator at the turn of the last century, and when he left the Senate, he wanted to become a gentleman farmer, and he had dairy cattle, and he had about 300 acres, and this was around right before the community of Fox Chapel was formed, but he had a large part of it, and Fox Chapel at that time was a farming community outside of Pittsburgh. Now it has more trees in it than it did 100 years ago. But he farmed it for a good while, and then when it quit being a farm, it just kind of laid fallow for a number of years, and then was acquired by Josh and Farley Wetzel. Josh Wetzel had long been associated with Western Pennsylvania Conservancy, and he eventually donated the property to the Conservancy, and Western Pennsylvania Conservancy turned to Audubon to operate it. And so we came in and worked to open up the first nature center there.
It's interesting. You don't often think of Fox Chapel as being farm country, but that's what it was. And of course, the late Senator John Hines called his family estate out there the Hines Farm. And of course, it's still in the family out there. So you don't think of that area of being like that, but obviously a great deal of money and a great deal of philanthropy as a result of that. And that was really Beechwood Farm Nature Reserve was your first facility owned and operated by the Audubon Society, correct?
Well, not actually. Our first property, we managed was one of the islands in the Allegheny River. And back in the 1920s, we leased what is now Sycamore Island and ran it as a bird sanctuary. And the lease had to be terminated in the 40s because of World War II. They were doing a lot of extraction for the war efforts from some of the gravels and other materials were there, and the lease was terminated at that point. Many years later, the Allegheny Land Trust bought it, and it still runs it as a sanctuary, so it's had a kind of an interesting history. But in 1942, we were given our first permanent piece of property, and this came from a gentleman or a scientist called W.E. Clyde Todd. And Clyde Todd was the very first curator of birds at the Carnegie Museum. He actually founded the department, and he had grandparents living out in Butler County in the Sarver area. He used to spend his childhood out there, and we have bird records going back over 100 years of things he spotted there, and had discovered. And he had the opportunity to acquire 47 acres, I think it was initially, and donated it to us in 1942. We continued to add on to that, and it's now our Todd Nature Reserve. And it's over 220 acres open to the public and 6 miles of trails. And we've bought some other parcels around it over the years and have about 500 acres total, either owned or protected in what we call the Buffalo Creek Valley.
Right. And it is designated as something I've never heard before, an IBA, an important bird area. I've never heard that terminology before, but it's obviously it's when you think of something like that, there's always great acronyms for these things, right? An IBA.
Exactly. The IBA program is it's an international program, and in the United States, National Audubon helps to coordinate it. But I've visited IBAs all over the world. But here in Pennsylvania, we have a number of them. But Buffalo Creek Valley is certainly one of the largest ones around. It includes an entire watershed, which is about 172 square miles of area. That encompasses the very rich Buffalo Creek Valley, high-quality designated streams, actually reproducing trout in them. It's a beautiful area, and we've been dedicated to helping to preserve, protect, and restore it for many years.
We have a lot of birds in our backyard. I guess that would be designated as a UBA, an unimportant bird area, but nonetheless...
No, you know what we can do is we can get you to become a certified backyard habitat.
Oh.
And that's one of the other programs that we operate, and we now have over 1,200 homes enrolled in it. But it's a program where one of our staff member comes out, looks at your property, discusses with you what some things you might be able to do to increase the habitat potential of it, what native plants you could put in, encourages you to do a few other things and some other requirements with it. You do all those things, you reach one of the certified levels, you get a beautiful sign in front, and we add your property to a large list that we have, and we've got over, I think, about 1,300 acres that have been certified.
And we don't have any cats, and we'll keep the cats away because they are...
Keep your cats indoors, yes.
Right. They are the tabby cat is a real serious problem, obviously, for the bird population. One might not think that, but it really is a serious situation, especially if you have feral cats, correct?
Absolutely. Cats arguably, right after just kind of habitat loss, is the number one cause for the decline in bird populations. The mortality rate that they cause is tremendous. Even well-fed ones and tame ones and everything else, it's a natural instinct. Just think about the toys you use when you're playing with a cat. They like to pounce on it, and it's not because they're hungry. It's just because it's an instinct. And unfortunately, they do the same thing outside. And so we strongly encourage people to keep their cats indoors or build one of those catios, which is an outdoor enclosure that they can spend time in.
Another new term, important bird areas and catios. See, you have a guy like you on, and look at this. You learn something new every day. I don't think that's an original term. We are talking with Jim Bonner, the Executive Director of the Audubon Society of Western Pennsylvania, soon to be the retired Executive Director. So congratulations on your career. You talked about how folks can get involved about getting a special designation for their own property, their yard, which leads right into the next topic I wanted to mention in our last few minutes about how people can get involved with the Audubon Society. Obviously, the opportunities to volunteer are probably endless, correct?
Absolutely. We're what we call a volunteer enhanced organization. We couldn't do all the things we do without volunteer support. I think we had about 8,800 hours committed to us last year, and that was in our native plant nursery, that was with our school programs, that was in our nature stores, people helping take care of the trails, doing some of the other conservation work we do, even working in the administrative area. So whatever skill or passion you have, we probably have a spot for you. And people can find out information about that on our website at aswp.org. And there they can find information about our 4 facilities, Beechwood Farms, Suckup Nature Park, Buffalo Creek Nature Park, and of course Todd Nature Reserve. You can get a list of all of our programs coming up, both ones that are at our facilities, ones that are in communities around Western PA, and we have a wide range of programs that we do online as well, so people can just learn about nature from the comfort of their home.
How long have you been with the society, Jim?
Oh, a little over 21 years.
Well, that makes you a veteran. You've been around a while.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit for that. Well,
yep.
Go ahead.
No, I just said nope. I've been fortunate. It's been a wonderful career there. I've enjoyed every day of it, and lots of friends, lots of good people to meet. It's been a very positive experience. That's one thing we try to emphasize: is no matter what's going on, you can enjoy yourself in nature and just kind of find a way to relax.
I have a feeling that this will not end your time with the Audubon Society. I have a feeling you're going to be the highest-ranking volunteer, perhaps, at this point, as you move on to retirement.
If they let me, I'm more than happy to.
Oh, I think they will. If anybody says anything, we'll send our producer out. Nick, he's the heavy around here. He's the muscle, so we'll send him out if anybody gives you a heck. So, Jim, congratulations on your career. And well done, and great organizations that you've led for many years, and your involvement now for more than 2 decades. It's really, really extraordinary. Jim, thanks so much for joining us. I'm sorry we haven't had you on more often. We'll have to have you on as Director Emeritus. And
there you go.
Then you can really open up and give your thoughts.
Always great talking with you, though. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks, Jim. Have a good one.
Bye now.
Jim Bonner, the Executive Director of the Audubon Society of Western PA. Again, aswp.org, aswp.org. Check out their website. They do have great facilities. I've been 3 of the 4 of them. There's the Beechwood Farms Nature Reserve, the Buffalo Creek Nature Park, the Suckup, interesting name, Nature Park, and the Todd Nature Reserve. SUCCOP.
When I heard him say that, I thought, is that a joke? Am I missing something?
I think it's probably named after somebody with that name.
I would think.
I'll tell you a story coming up. A friend of mine years ago was raising money for an organization, and a family was donating a great deal of money, and they were very concerned about the name of the family, what they wanted to have the name for this organization. I'll tell you what it is when we get back.
That's a tease. That's an award-winning tease.
Right. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Here's a business looking for a customer.
Hi there.
Here's a customer looking for a business.
Hi.
And that's where the Better Business Bureau comes in. The BBB connects people with businesses they can trust. That's why 2023 IABBB research found 80% of people choose BBB accredited businesses over non-accredited ones with the same A+ letter rating. Live happily, better after. Always look for the sign of a better business because it's looking out for you. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
It's a day that ends in Y, so it's a day that you might decide you don't want to cook. That means it's the perfect day to order Fat Angelo's. Offering delicious pizzas, salads, hoagies, strombolis and calzones, wings, and more. And with 12 locations across the area ready to serve you, today is the day to visit FatAngelosPizza.com, where you can quickly and conveniently find your local shop and place your order online. Or get the local phone number and give them a call. Order up!
August is Make a Will Month. Have you confirmed your final wishes? Don't do your will online. You are more than a fill-in-the-blank overpriced form. With over 30 years' experience, attorney Lisa J. Boudet specializes in helping people just like you. Call the office of Attorney Boudet at 724-938-1355 or visit BoudetLaw.com. Attorney Lisa J. Boudet with an office at 304 3rd Street in California.
Since 1987, Lacey's Auto and Truck Repair on Binns Road in Brownsville has helped to keep your vehicle running smoothly. With expert tune-ups, engine repair, diagnostic testing, regular oil changes, and emission and state inspections. Lacey's is your Napa Auto Care Center in Brownsville. Phone them at 724-785-6600. Lacey's Auto and Truck Repair also sells tires, and they're able to do alignments up to a 210-inch wheelbase. Lacey's is open Monday through Friday, 8 till 12 and 1 till 5. Closed Saturdays and Sundays. So before your brakes go out on you, before your engine blows up, or before you steer into a ditch, Call and have your car or truck repaired at Lacey's Auto and Truck Repair of Brownsville. Phone them at 724-785-6600. That's 724-785-6600 for Lacey's Auto and Truck Repair on Binns Road in Brownsville.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Wow, your dog looks beautiful.
We went to Mutt's on Market Street, the new dog grooming salon in downtown Brownsville. Samantha, the owner, has over 10 years dog grooming experience. They work with any dog, any breed, any size.
Didn't it cost a fortune?
No, the prices are great. They offer a full line of grooming and other services.
With warm weather, now's the time to schedule an appointment for your furry friends. Mutt's on Market Street, downtown Brownsville, next to Hope Park. For more information, visit Mutt's on Market Street on Facebook. Mutt's on Market Street will be open during the Market Street repairs.
WMBS.
That's Led Zeppelin bringing us out of the break here as we're coming up on the 6 o'clock news in less than a minute. So the story I was going to tell, a friend of mine did fundraising years ago for a university, which I won't name, and a family which had a hyphenated name, wanted to donate money and have this center on the college named for them. Well, their name was Kitty Garten. I can say that. I won't say the college. I don't think it ever actually happened because they were worried about having, it sounded like the kindergarten center at some university. Yeah. But that's, it's far out west. It's nowhere near here. But the idea, how did this come up? We were talking about the Suck Up Nature Park, which is part of the Audubon Society.
Suck Up's a good one, yeah.
To say the least. But again, they have the Todd Nature Reserve, the Buffalo Creek Nature Park, and the Beechwood Farms Nature Reserve, all part of the Audubon Society. We just spoke a moment ago with Jim Bonner from the Society. He's retiring as executive director, and we'll have his replacement on next. But first, the news.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. President Trump has just indicated some real progress could be made to end the war in Ukraine after his envoy met with Russian President Putin. Trump was asked a few minutes ago if a summit might be in the works with the Russian and Ukrainian presidents.
Well, there's a very good prospect that they will. And we haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today. And there's a very good chance that we could be ending the end of that road. That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
In the meantime, Trump leveled more tariffs on India today for buying Russian oil. CBS's Nancy Cordes.
The goal here is to send a message to Russia, hey, your biggest customers for your biggest product, we're going to make it more expensive to buy from you. And so if you don't start working with the U.S. and the Ukrainians on some kind of a deal, we're going to continue to turn the screws.
There was a lockdown at Fort Stewart in Georgia today after a gunman opened fire. 5 soldiers were injured. General John Lewis.
The shooting occurred at the soldier's place of work. It did involve his co-workers. We're still not certain about the motivations, but again, he's been interviewed by Army investigators, and we believe we'll gain more information here shortly.
The alleged gunman is an Army sergeant. ICE is hiring new agents, and it's eliminating its age cap, as Michael Wallace reports.
Until now, you had to be under 40 to become a deportation officer. ICE is also lowering its minimum age from 21 to 18 as it looks to hire another 10,000 officers. It's offering signing bonuses of up to $50,000 and student loan forgiveness, all paid for with $30 billion allocated to ICE recruitment in the Big Beautiful Bill Act.
Correspondent Ed O'Keefe has the latest on the Texas redistricting standoff with Democrats Democratic lawmakers refusing to return to the state.
Basically, you have the Texas Democrats who've left the state and the governor in a staring contest. They've got about maybe 12 more days or so in this special session that he had called. Special sessions in Texas last 30 days. And if they can run out the clock on this special session, the Democrats believe, then the governor's got to either decide to hold another one. And if he brings up the same exact issues, including redistricting, they might try to leave the state again. Or if he focuses just on other issues like relief for the flood-ravaged areas of the state from last month's deadly floods, they would come home and consider that legislation.
On Wall Street today, stocks finished higher. The Dow Jones Industrials were up 81 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Oak Pizza in downtown Uniontown is your one-stop shop for the most unique pizzas in the region. From the masterminds behind the Fat Angelo's franchise, Oak Pizza is the laboratory where the Fat Angelo's food scientists test their creations and let you be the judge. With traditional favorites like pepperoni and buffalo chicken pizzas to more experimental offerings like the sesame seed-infused Mad Pie or the spicy chicken pickle pizza, Oak has you covered. Order today at oakpizzas.com or by calling 724-439-5805. Your taste buds will thank you.
Wow, your dog looks beautiful.
We went to Mutt's on Market Street, the new dog grooming salon in downtown Brownsville. Samantha, the owner, has over 10 years dog grooming experience. They work with any dog, any breed, any size.
Didn't it cost a fortune?
No, the prices are great. They offer a full line of grooming and other services.
With warm weather, now's the time to schedule an appointment for your furry friends. Mutt's on Market Street, downtown Brownsville, next to Hope Park. For more information, visit Mutt's on Market Street on Facebook. Mutt's on Market Street will be open during the Market Street repairs.
There's a blockbuster deal between the National Football League and a network that airs some of its games.
ESPN has reached an agreement to buy the NFL Network and other media assets from the league, including the frenetic Red Zone channel.
Jalen Hurts feels heat, throws, and incomplete. And the kick is no good in the Green Bay game.
The NFL gets a 10% stake in ESPN, which currently airs Monday night games.
I am Joe Buck. That's the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. And
a separate deal includes other content and intellectual property. ESPN's chairman, Jimmy Pitaro, says it will create what he calls a premier destination for football fans. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
Authorities say France's biggest wildfire this summer is spreading quickly in a region near the Spanish border. It's consumed an area larger than Paris overnight. Europe is the world's fastest warming continent. I'm Cammie McCormick, CBS News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Point Hill Living Care Home of Point Marion. Offering customized care for all residents, Point Hill Living Care Home is committed to compassionate care and personalized support. And now the news.
Good evening. We are looking at sunny and 78 outside of our Davis & Davis studios on this Wednesday evening, and a very good evening. I am Nick Barczyk from the Davis & Davis studios. 6:05, nice summer evening. Sports and weather on the way in just a bit. A late state budget in Pennsylvania could negatively affect many institutions, among them local libraries. The Observer Reporter reports that libraries around the state could be missing out on upwards of $14 million in payments that were said to arrive this month, and the effect of the late arrival would be felt by the 29 district library centers throughout Pennsylvania. Christy Fusco, the director of the Uniontown Public Library, told the Observer that library officials in southwest Pennsylvania are not only anxious about the budget not being passed, but are also bracing for federal cuts that are said to go into effect next year. And the Board of Citizens Library has recently taken out a $100,000 line of credit until it receives the nearly $400,000 it is supposed to get as a district center comes through. The district center is the hub of the Wagon Network, a group of 20 libraries in Fayette, Greene, and Washington that share services and handle such things as library loans and electronic resources. Authorities are asking for the public's help with finding a missing Greensburg man. On July 29th, Ruben Carranza was last seen driving a white Toyota Avalon with the Pennsylvania license number HSG 7080. Carranza has brown eyes and black hair and gauges in both ears. His family says he suffers from mental health issues and are worried about his safety. Anyone with information about his whereabouts is asked to contact local police. A bridge in Penn Township, Westmoreland County, may soon be replaced with a wider bridge. This comes as PennDOT released its plans for the bridge on Meridian Road this afternoon. The bridge, which is right now only one lane, runs over the Connequenessing Creek. A $5 million proposed deal would see a new two-lane bridge installed. PennDOT says construction could begin in 2028. A man from New Mexico is behind bars after state police said about 17 pounds of suspected cocaine was found in the pickup truck he was driving west on I-70 in Hempfield this morning. Triple Live says the troopers say the driver of a GMC Sierra was pulled over for a traffic violation around 9 a.m. today near mile marker 78 in Hempfield when authorities grew suspicious during the traffic stop and asked to search the truck. 21-year-old Jose Jimenez gave them permission while admitting that a small amount of cocaine was inside. Police said a field test showed the substance in the bag was likely cocaine. Jimenez is facing numerous charges, among them intent to deliver and drug possession. He was denied bail. He's now in the Westmoreland County Jail. A preliminary hearing is set for next week for Jimenez. Smoke from the Canadian wildfires expected to ease this evening after causing poor air quality in the region. The Midwest and Northeast have dealt with air issues, alerts, and hazy skies for the first half of this week. A wind shift is going to push the smoke away from the surface, and most air quality alerts are going to be lifted this evening. The possibility of hazy skies and poor air quality coming back remains on days when the wind pattern moves back to the north or northeast. More Americans in southwest Pennsylvania residents are falling behind on their bills because of student loan payments. The Federal Reserve Bank's quarterly report released today shows about 4.4% of U.S. accounts were delinquent in the second quarter. That's up from 4.3% in the first quarter and 3.2% in the second of last year. The report says the rise in late bills is being driven largely by the return of student loan payments after a nearly 5-year pause and by delinquent loans being reported to collection agencies again. Total debt among U.S. households also rose in the second quarter by about 1.5%. Right now it is 6:09, sunny and 79 outside of our Davis & Davis studios. Sports and weather next on WMBS.
Point Hill Living Care Home is an all-new personal care home conveniently located in Point Marion and is now accepting new residents. Point Hill Living is committed to providing comfort and support while allowing residents to maintain their independence and enhance their quality of life. With a dedicated staff and experienced advanced care team, Point Hill Living offers fully customized care plans for all residents, while also ensuring a sense of community and engagement, making Point Hill feel like home. Multiple care levels are available, from basic plans to fully customized and enhanced plans, including options for medical monitoring and full-time dedicated assistance. If you are looking for a high-quality care home close to home, look no further than Point Hill Living Care Home at 300 Union Street in Point Marion. Call them today at 724-725-5533 to learn more, or visit them at pointhillliving.com. Point Hill Living Care Home, where our residents are family.
And in sports, Bucco baseball today, a loss for your Pittsburgh Pirates against the Giants, 4-2. Giants take that series 2-3. Bucks back in action against the Reds at PNC Thursday evening. Paul Skeens on the mound for the Pirates. On the air with that at 6:15, game at 6:40 Thursday night on WMBS. Steelers have training camp, or had it today at St. Vincent. They're getting ready for their first preseason game Saturday against Jacksonville, as Mason Rudolph expected to start at quarterback. Steelers rookie QB Will Howard has a broken bone in his hand and is going to be out for the preseason. Rudolph expected to start under center for the Steelers. And ESPN is going to launch its direct-to-consumer streaming service soon, which could affect how you watch Steelers, Penguins, and Pitt games. The new service will cost $30 a month when it becomes available August 21st and features access to all of ESPN's linear channels. A deal with WWE was announced today, a day after ESPN bought the NFL media assets featuring the Red Zone channel and NFL Network. A bundle option that includes Disney Plus and Hulu is also available for $30 a month for the first year. And now the WMBS Weather Watch for all of southwest Pennsylvania. Sunny and 79 right now. Overnight low at 63 up to 82 on Thursday with sun. Friday should be a nice weekend, sunny and 84. Saturday more sun and 87 and all the way back up to 90 on Sunday. Monday at 91. Chance of showers late Tuesday at 87, but really no rain expected for the next week or so. 6:11, sunny and 79 outside of our Davis & Davis studios on this Wednesday evening. And good evening, I'm Nick Barczyk. On the way, more of the Afternoon Drive Show with Doug Saltzman on WMBS.
The local, district, and statewide news was brought to you by Point Hill Living Care Home. Conveniently located in Point Marion, call them today at 724-725-5533 to see if their services are right for you and your loved one.
Have you been told there is nothing that can be done for your neuropathy? Tri-State Neuropathy Centers is pleased to tell you that's not true. As one of the largest and most successful neuropathy treatment practices in the country, Tri-State Neuropathy Centers has grown to 9 regional centers and helped over 14,000 patients, like Kim from Morgantown. Kim was experiencing such severe numbness, burning, and stabbing pain in her feet that she constantly felt distracted in life. Then Kim discovered Tri-State Neuropathy Centers and their effective FDA-approved treatment program that has no drugs, is non-invasive, and painless. Kim no longer has the pain that was limiting her daily activities, and she's now enjoying life again. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers helped Kim, along with thousands of others. Let them help you next. Call 304-777-2068. That's 304-777-2068. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy.
Do you want to play the game that's known as the greatest of all time? Then don't miss this chance to win with WMBS and the Pennsylvania Lottery. Now, through August 11th, just be the 6th caller to 724-438-4593 when you hear... And you'll win 6 $5 goat load of cash crossword scratch-off tickets with 10 top prizes of $200,000. The Pennsylvania Lottery benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly.
Yeah, they're the people I trust. It's the place I go. Home, warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
This is home improvement season. Home Warehouse in Uniontown is your one-stop shop for all your exterior building needs. It's the place that makes a house a happy home. Looking to add a deck? Home Warehouse carries composite decking materials and maintenance-free railing in a variety of styles. Plus, roofing shingles, metal and commercial rubber roofing, windows and doors, shutters, siding, soffit and fascia, railing, columns, 5 and 6-inch seamless gutters, plus flooring and more. Whatever building products you need, you'll be pleased with the selection and hometown service. So stop in and see Sandy and Donnie at Home Warehouse, Connellsville Street in Uniontown. Shop Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, Saturday, 8 to noon, closed Sunday and holidays.
Home, warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
Are you considering a project design and don't know where to start? K2 Engineering offers a wide range of professional civil, architectural, and municipal services to meet your individual project needs. Our versatility, combined with our personalized approach, is what sets us apart as a full-service engineering and consultation firm. To learn more about our services, please visit us on the web at www.k2engineering.net. K2 Engineering, where customer service is our priority.
Get ready, Somerset County. The 125th Annual Somerset County Fair returns August 14th through 23rd at the Fairgrounds in Myersdale. For just $12 per person plus $2 car parking, dive into top-tier livestock shows, nightly grandstand acts, and thrills on the Midway. Catch demolition derbies, tractor pulls, and dirt drag races by Appalachian Outlaws Motorsport. Family fun in the Laurel Highlands. Don't miss it. For full details and special days, visit SomersetCountyFairPA.com.
There was a story the other day. Now, this would be the type of thing that Sapienza or DeStefano would be reporting on. A small forest fire was started thanks to a bird and a rabbit.
Is that a bird? We just had the guy from the Audubon Society on.
Was
a bird and a rabbit.
A bird caught this rabbit.
Wow. Nature, huh?
Dropped it as it was flying, and it hit power lines.
Oh my God!
Made this rabbit explode, which then started a small fire. I think I want to make sure I have that right. I think it was.
Is this a fever dream? Did you take too much melatonin
another
last
one,
night?
like the day I reported that Tom Brady had quit broadcasting,
which I'd like him to because he's not good, but that's a whole other thing. Wow, I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like something you made up.
No,
did you read it in a novel?
We are going to Google this. Let's see here.
Is this a plot of a movie?
Bird and
talking
rabbit
about terms of endearment before.
Start a fire. Yeah, you put it in Google. Everything is in there. Let's see if I have this right. Why
we
would
didn't
a bird
start the fire?
Why would a bird start a fire? This bird starts fire on purpose. So I don't know if that's the case. I'll find out this story.
Oh boy. Make up something for us.
Yeah, he dropped something, a rabbit, a squirrel, I don't know.
The whole animal kingdom was involved.
Yeah, and it started this
the
fire.
Smokey Bear there.
Yeah.
Is he still a thing?
Yeah, I guess, I suppose that, I'll get the full details on this. But yeah, that did make the news, and I thought it would be something, definitely Sapienza. With his enthusiasm would air, and then
that's a good 6:30 in the morning story.
I think that is a good 6:30 in the morning story, and of course, God love TJ doing an hour straight of news. That's
Absolutely.
a lot of work. Now, of course, he doesn't talk for an hour straight. He's got stories and all that, but that's a lot of work.
We love our sponsors. They're keeping the lights on.
I mean, we like TJ, but the sponsors.
They're the best. Really, we're just the stuff between the commercials. Somebody said that once. Really, people need to realize that TV shows only exist to have something to play between the commercials. As depressing as that sounds, that's true. Some big-time CBS executive said that.
Many years ago.
I mean, Survivor's great. The Beverly Hillbillies were great, but really it's about the commercials. That's how I make my money.
Many years ago, there was a columnist for one of the Pittsburgh papers, the Post-Gazette or the Press, I don't remember, complaining about how many ads there were at the Civic Arena. Like on every step riser.
Oh, sure.
There was an ad.
Around the board of the Penguin game, it's endless.
But ads all through. And then I thought, does he realize he works for a newspaper?
Yeah.
And newspapers literally are half ads.
Well, yes, that's how they survive, or used to survive, yeah.
Yeah,
they're still churning along.
I mean, we're very fortunate here in Uniontown that we have a printed newspaper 6 days a week.
That's right. We're
not as big as it once was.
We're on the air 24/7. A lot of towns don't have local radio.
And you think about Pittsburgh now, which at one point had 2 newspapers, and then a third came in that was printing 7 days a week. It's now 2 days a week.
That's amazing. They print 2 days a week.
Because I was on a station in Pittsburgh the day after the election.
Insane.
Many years ago, and I said, this is the first time in like 200 years that there was not a printed newspaper the day after the election.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now they're still doing great work online, but to not have that physical paper, a lot of older people and younger people, I enjoy the physical paper.
We used to get the morning paper, which was the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and then the afternoon paper was the Press, and that would arrive at like 3 o'clock. The kids would come home from school and then deliver it.
Yeah, the Herald Standard had the Evening Standard as well.
Right.
That's when newspapers dominated, and radio was bigger than it is now, frankly.
There were times when papers in Pittsburgh would have 8 or 12 pages of ads from Kaufman's.
Oh, yes.
I mean, imagine the money that came in as a result of 12 full-page ads.
Amazing. And newsstands, I'm sure you remember those.
Oh, yeah.
In Pittsburgh, Adam. Of course, New York used to be awash in newsprint.
I was at a closing Rite Aid, and they had price tags on all their display cases.
Yeah.
And one was sitting there, and it was how much did they want for it? $55, a newspaper stand. Like, I don't know what they're putting in that these days. Yeah. That's but no, the newspapers are still out there. The Herald Standard is a good paper. It's nice that we have it.
You have the Observer. The local ones, the Daily Courier. Yeah.
They're still around, and in fact, smaller towns tend to do that more than larger towns.
Sure.
But you think about Pittsburgh has a printed newspaper 2 days a week.
That's amazing. Why even bother? I mean,
2 days a week.
Yeah. Everyone's on their phones.
But, no, we're very fortunate here to have the Herald Standard, the Observer Reporter next door in Washington, the Connellsville paper. Not too many of those around anymore. Coming up here, folks, in just a moment, Thane Rosenbaum is going to join us, CBS News legal analyst. We're going to talk about the U.S. House subpoenaing, and the case related to the Epstein case, the Clintons. So we thought we would talk to Thane about just that. What is involved with subpoenaing such people, Bill and Hillary Clinton? Quite quite a difference from subpoenaing the average person. When you think about how that comes about, and joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line on the Afternoon Drive show, CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum. Thane, thanks for joining us. We were just teasing the interview here, the idea of Bill and Hillary Clinton among the figures being subpoenaed in the U.S. Congressional Epstein probe. Not your standard folks to subpoena a former governor / U.S. president, former first lady / U.S. senator / secretary of state. These aren't the folks that generally get subpoenaed. There's a lot more going on in involvement in that than there would be, say, subpoenaing me. It's not unprecedented, but it's got to be close, right?
Well, I'll tell you what is unprecedented, Doug, to be compelled to testify. We have had presidents in the past testify before Congress, congressional committees investigating something, or subcommittees perhaps investigating things, but they come of their own volition. They're saying, I'm a private citizen now, a former president, I've got some information I can assist you with, here I am. I'll help. I don't think Bill and Hillary Clinton have any interest in voluntarily showing up. So, will they be in contempt of Congress because they simply refuse to answer the subpoena? Will they come with lawyers and say, we are only coming because we're compelled to do so? We're not coming voluntarily? That is clearly, but you're right. We usually don't, we don't usually bring in high public officials, but remember, they're not the only ones. They've essentially subpoenaed every single attorney general going back to Alberto Gonzales in the George W. Bush administration. Every single one. Because Epstein was alive and well in various homes, and they want to know, what did you guys know about this? Remember, the sweetheart deal that he struck in, I think, 2005 or 2005, that was done in Southern District of Florida. A U.S. attorney was the attorney general at the time, recognized what was going on. So, yes, there are a lot of people that are being tested, that have been subpoenaed, but Bill and Hillary are the marquee names.
Yeah, you talk about presidents testifying. I think, at least in our lifetimes, maybe ever, the only sitting president to testify before a congressional committee was Gerald Ford, when he came before the House Judiciary Committee to defend his pardoning President Nixon,
and he came voluntarily.
Right, exactly. He was not he was not required to be there. But yeah, these. Think about you bring these people in for a hearing. Would these be before on C-SPAN, for heaven's sakes? I mean, can you imagine Hillary and Bill sitting next to each other at a defense table, at a witness table before the House? I think they're going to fight this one as long as they could fight it, I suppose, correct?
Well, it would be must-see TV, that's for sure. If it was, I'm sure they'll fight it. They have no interest. Both of them have no interest for two reasons. One is the Epstein matter. Secondly, the House Oversight Committee has oversight. It's a pretty broad term. They're going to want to talk to Hillary Clinton about the Steele dossier. They're going to want to talk about the Russian collusion allegations. That's why they're subpoenaed Comey as well, former FBI director. That's why there's a subpoena for Mueller as well. This is not just Epstein. So I suspect that if they get their wish list and everyone shows up, they're not going to limit it, I think. They're not going to limit it to the Epstein matter. Although, remember, it was Hillary Clinton's husband who apparently his name was on the manifest, and he was on the flight, the Lolita Express, that went to that island in the Caribbean that was owned by Epstein. And there was, I think the Netflix documentary, there was a handyman, electrician or something, who said, this is ridiculous. I was doing work outside. I absolutely saw Bill Clinton sipping iced tea on the porch. So it's ridiculous to say he wasn't here. I saw him. So I can assure you they may subpoena that guy. But one last thing on this idea. Remember, committees, and you know this as well as anyone because you served in the capacity for years before you were a radio celebrity, was House committees don't have any prosecutorial discretion. They can conduct all their investigation They're there to advise and consent and to conduct investigations. And if they then think that they have something that's culpable, indictable, they can then refer the matter to the Attorney General and say, we just sat down for 2 weeks with the former president, and I'll tell you what we think. We think there are charges here, and the Attorney General can agree or not agree. So in many ways, it's must-see TV, and it produces a record, but it doesn't necessarily lead to criminal charges.
Yeah, and of course, the committee is asking these former officials to appear in August, September, and October, and it's building up to the October 9th deposition of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton on the 14th. So I guess they're just building up the ratings, I suppose, is how they're going to.
Why do it in the dog days of summer?
Right, exactly.
Make it must-see TV in October.
This was interesting. Here's a quote. Today was an important step forward in our fight for transparency regarding the Epstein files and our dedication to seeking justice for the victims. And that came from Robert Garcia and also Summer Lee, who, of course, is the congresswoman from right here in southwestern Pennsylvania, represents the city of Pittsburgh and other areas. She's my congresswoman, as a matter of fact, in the suburb I live in, just outside Pittsburgh. So, yeah, it's interesting here that this is being pushed on both sides of the aisle at this point. It doesn't often happen that you have R's and D's agreeing on something. But,
especially since the president is ambivalent about this, right? So here's an instance where the MAGA people are a little at odds with their main guy, President Trump. Trump, to some degree, says make everything available, but it's pretty clear he doesn't really want everything to be available. For whatever reasons, the Attorney General decided not to make the grand jury information available publicly. As if to say there was no client list, but there was definitely some interesting things that the public might want to see. And if it's in the public interest, that's what these lawsuits are about. To make these grand jury testimony, which is generally inviolable, it's always secret, but this has such public interest, so make it available. In the absence of that, the next step is what we're seeing. Congressional testimonies. All right, look, you don't want to show us what you showed the grand jury. Okay, fine. The grand jury saw this stuff and didn't think there was anything to indict. We want to. Okay, fine. That's good for you. But we, Congress, we want to conduct our own investigation. It may or may not lead to any criminal penalties, but we want to put it on the record. And I think that that's not something President Trump wants. I think the MAGA people who see conspiracy like this. The Democrats like this, I think, because they think it'll embarrass more Republicans.
Yeah. You talked earlier about how former attorney generals are being have been subpoenaed. Also, former FBI directors have been subpoenaed in this. It's a pretty broad session, a broad effort to subpoena folks. James Comey, Robert Mueller also subpoenaed them as well. In addition, as you mentioned, Merrick Garland, Bill Barr, Jeff Sessions, Loretta Lynch.
Every single one down the road since Alberto Gonzales, which is in the second term of the George W. Bush administration. That's a lot of different people that would come in to talk about what they know about Jeffrey Epstein and what they know about evidence that passed before their deaths that was potentially criminal, but that was somehow ignored for some reason, right? Because the conspiracy-minded people are saying no one is above the law. How did this multi-millionaire get away with sex trafficking all those years? Because he had a really great roster of very famous, important friends. I'll tell you who hasn't been subpoenaed, Doug, and people are saying, there are people who are wondering, no victims.
Right.
Not a single victim. And so some of the young girl who committed suicide this year, I forgot her name, but
Virginia?
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Virginia, right. Yeah, Virginia. Her sister apparently today said, this makes you think, my sister lost her life for this and she was destroyed over this. And two things I want to see. How come we don't have any victims? And secondly, why do I get the feeling, she's essentially saying, that this is going to end up reducing the prison sentence of Maxwell? Why do I get a feeling? She already, from her 2-hour or whatever 2-day interview with Todd Blanche, Deputy Attorney General, was it 2 weeks ago, she already got moved to a less secure prison facility. I guess you could argue a cushier place, better bed, better cell, better, environment. So there are people who are going, what just happened here? You took an interview with her, and the next thing you know, she gets to go to a better room. So you're going to start hearing more and more of this, because clearly where this is headed is the only person that knows everything and who's not subject to a grand jury lockdown is the woman who could exchange her testimony for clemency, to say, pardon me, commute my sentence. I'll tell you everything you want to know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Witnesses often hurt themselves, or even when they're not witnesses and they're just simply sharing their thoughts on something. Of course, former President Clinton said to a spokesperson that he had, in fact, traveled on Epstein's jet, but he never visited one of his homes. The question was, well, then where'd you fly to? Epstein had homes everywhere. I don't think he stayed in hotels when he went to the beach. I'm sure he had his own place. So it'll be very interesting if this occurs, and it's coming up. It's August, September, October, or they've already set the dates for when they want these people appearing. But no doubt this will be going to federal court too, and they're going to try to squash those subpoenas, no doubt. And we'll wait and see what happens. Where they don't have prosecutorial, they don't have that authority. In Congress.
But they do have what's called referral.
Right.
Meaning the power, and you know this from your congressional days, where the Congressional Committee simply refers the entire file to the Justice Department and says, you know what, we've done all the work, the legwork, you don't have to do anything, it's all right there. You can do whatever you want, but we have it, and we're asking, could you bring charges?
Yeah. Congress does have has the power to have contempt of Congress charges filed for people who do not show up. To testify.
And that happened in a couple of the cases in the Trump cases.
Right.
I think that happened to Steve Bannon, and I'm trying to remember one other of ones in the Washington.
In fact, we interviewed him on this show at one point.
Yeah.
Oh, good heavens! I'm not going to think of his name now. We've interviewed over the years a reporter.
Not Navarro, but the other guy.
Well, I was thinking Navarro. He went to prison for that reason, correct?
Yeah, but isn't Navarro? Isn't he back in the administration? I can't remember.
It's hard to keep track. You need a program.
Yeah.
That's up to our producer, Nick, here to decide and keep track of these things. But yeah, every time we interview, there's a Navarro from CBS, one of your colleagues, who we always say, full disclosure, no relation.
Yeah, not that guy, right.
Because it's a rather unique name, to say the least. You've given us a lot of extra time here today, Thane. As always, fascinating stuff to talk about. Subpoenaing a former president, former Secretary of State. Oh, they happen to be married as well. And this can be interesting. It is must-see TV. I'm sure that the Senate or the House Republicans and the House Democrats are going to push to have this on C-SPAN. Heck, it might end up on the networks. You don't know.
Yep.
Especially when the Clintons are testifying sometime in October. We'll wait and see. Thane, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Anytime for you, Doug. You know that. Take care, guys.
Thanks so much. Interesting comments, interesting analysis by, the idea of a former president and his wife both testifying, rather interesting stuff. John Delano is going to join us in a few moments, of course, formerly with KDK-TV, also chief of staff to a member of Congress years ago. We're going to talk about gerrymandering, the Texas case, but also where'd that term come from, gerrymandering. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Attention, active and retired coal miners. Have you been screened for black lung? Here at the Black Lung Clinic at Centerville Clinics, we offer yearly screenings, diagnosis, education, and treatment options to help you live a fuller, healthier life. We provide care regardless of your ability to pay. Call Centerville Clinics today at 724-632-6801. Do it today.
August is Make a Will Month. Have you confirmed your final wishes? Don't do your will online. You are more than a fill-in-the-blank overpriced form. With over 30 years' experience, attorney Lisa J. Boudet specializes in helping people just like you. Call the office of Attorney Boudet at 724-938-1355 or visit boudetlaw.com. Attorney Lisa J. Boudet with an office at 304 3rd Street in California.
The Story Square Summer Concert Series is back on Thursday, August 7th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. p.m. This week featuring music from Black Dog Hollow and food from Truckin' Triangles. And of course, we at WMBS are going to be on hand. Josh Krysak and myself, Matt Sapienza, will be broadcasting from 5 to 7. Enjoy the talents of local musicians and businesses throughout the summer and celebrate community spirit while supporting local talent. To see the full schedule, check out uniontownredevelopment.com/StorySquare.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Warm weather is finally here, and with it, the opportunity to upgrade your lawn or yard with a new fence from All Around Fence Company. Conveniently located at 7896 National Pike, Uniontown, All Around Fence has been installing quality residential, commercial, and farm fencing for more than 45 years. Offering residential fencing including chain link, decorative aluminum, steel, and more, All Around Fence has a fence for you. All Around Fence is also your one-stop shop for Nutrena products and carries livestock, equine, and pet supplies too. So whether you need to upgrade an existing fence, add a new gate, or are looking to install an all-new fence, All Around Fence has the answers for you. Visit them Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. or give them a call at 724-439-0331. To learn more, visit allaroundfence.com.
Pizza King's in Connellsville is your go-to lunch and dinner spot with a full menu of mouth-watering pizzas and so much more. Using a deck oven helps our pizzas stay extra crisp, so if you haven't tried a slice lately, what are you waiting for? From our 50-slice King Carnivore to veggie pizzas and even pickle pizzas, Pizza King has the pie to match your taste. Pizza King's, 1046 Morrell Avenue in Connellsville. Call 724-626-8343 or visit pizzakingswithaz.com.
Black and gold up on their feet, terrible towels swirling.
When you listen here, you get all the excitement of Steelers football.
Touchdown, Pittsburgh Steelers!
Rob King brings you the play-by-play along with Max Starks and Missy Matthews.
Where would you rather be?
The only place to be on game day is the Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.
Football is back. The Steelers open up the preseason slate against the Jaguars in Jacksonville Saturday, August 9th at 7 o'clock on your Steelers station, WMBS.
We were talking earlier about the possibility of Bill and Hillary Clinton, President Clinton, Secretary Clinton, testifying before the House. And, of course, presidents have testified before. They've never been forced. No one has ever testified under subpoena. But I mentioned Gerald Ford had testified before Congress after he pardoned President Nixon, and he proclaimed that America's long national nightmare was over. Do you remember who said that years ago after the Pirates went 20 years in a row with losing record?
So Greg Brown.
Greg Brown said our long national nightmare is over.
Actually, Dave Letterman said that in his monologue on his last night.
Oh,
our
really?
long national nightmare is over. I'm done.
I'm sure they all got criticized for using that line. It wasn't like what Johnson said after President Kennedy was assassinated. But yeah, the long national nightmare is over. I don't think that's a big deal.
No, it's funny. I think that's hysterical.
I think it's sort of funny that people have used it later. Joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, we try to talk to him every once in a while, maybe once a month, every 6 months, every 6 weeks. What are you laughing about over there, Nick? You're up to something.
Nothing.
You're up to something.
Just you looking at you doing your show. It's fun.
Of course, formerly with KDKA TV for a few years, I think 30-some, and before that, Chief of Staff in the U.S. House of Representatives, John Delano. John, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Hey, Doug, always good to be with you, and I love hearing Nick, too.
Oh, yeah, Nick's
thanks, John. I appreciate it.
over here doing something.
Wow, John Delano knows me.
Wow.
I'm doing something.
I certainly know Nick. Yes, of course. Who doesn't know Nick?
Everybody knows Nick, for heaven's sake.
Oh, Doug's guys hear my voice before they come on.
He's been here for 15 years. He's 30 years old.
Oh, my God.
I say that, and people think I'm kidding, but you are 30. You've been here 15 years.
30 in December, but I've already rounded up.
Yeah.
I've already said goodbye to my 20s.
It's best to
yeah,
round
it's
up.
over. I'm growing up.
Has he really been at WMBS for 15 years?
Yes, sir. Started at 15.
He was
awesome.
he was on the air at 15, not just running
please.
around like an intern.
No, I wasn't running around.
On the air.
I was getting coffee for the secretary.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
You're going to have 20 years from age 35.
Get my gold watch.
Good pension, I suppose. The gerrymandering battle in Texas is interesting. Texas, it's happened before where Democrats have left the state to keep votes from happening. But gerrymandering battles is not new. It goes back a few years, let's say, 200 years. Folks might be interested in where that came from, gerrymandering.
It came from a governor of Massachusetts by the name of Governor Gary. Actually, it was a hard G, but we've changed it to a soft G. He was accused of designing districts for the elections that looked like salamanders. And so they cobbled his name, his opponents and the media cobbled his name, Gary, with mander, from salamander, and called it a gerrymander or a gerrymander, as we say today. And so you're right, Doug. It's been with us for over 200 years. We've seen political party do power grabs. If they totally control the state legislature and the governor's office, they can design their own districts that favor one party or another. What is so insidious about what's going on in Texas and what is happening today is that with the help of computers and artificial intelligence, it's so much easier to design districts that basically take away competitive choice and make it all one party or the other party. Texas has 38 congressional districts. Because of a gerrymander in 2020, they already control, the Republicans, 25 of the 38 districts, notwithstanding the fact that the parties are Republicans outnumber Democrats, but they're not imbalanced like that. And what President Trump wants, because he's so afraid of losing the House of Representatives next year, is he wants the state legislature and the governor, all Republicans, to design districts that are even more Republican, such that 30 out of 38 districts would vote Republican simply because of the way they squiggle the lines and dilute the votes of Democrats. I think there's an easy way to explain this in terms of Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh and southwestern PA, Doug, as you know, southwestern PA has 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats, and frankly, that's about right when it comes to party registration and the like. But let's assume for a moment that the Republicans controlled the governor's office and both houses of the state legislature in Harrisburg, which they do not. But if they did, the way they would do this, if they followed the Texas rule, would be to take the city of Pittsburgh, which is all in one congressional Democratic House district, and split it into 4 parts. Put part of Pittsburgh in with Westmoreland County, part of Pittsburgh in with Washington, Fayette in the southwestern corner. Put part of Pittsburgh in with Beaver and Lawrence, and put part of Pittsburgh in with Butler County. You would so dilute the Democratic vote from the city of Pittsburgh that you could create 4 Republican districts here in southwestern Pennsylvania with no representation at all to the tens of thousands of Democrats. So, and it's all because we now have computers and artificial intelligence that can design these districts with really microscopic abilities. It's a terrible thing. And what's happening here in Texas, what's going to happen in Texas, assuming they get away with this, is that the Democrats are going to have to respond. So you're going to get a reapportionment warfare going on. States controlled by Republicans will wipe out the Democrats. States controlled by Democrats will wipe out the Republicans. And democracy will be the 100% loser.
Yeah. What was interesting, of course, it hit Pennsylvania several years ago when there was the famous congressional district out in the eastern part of the state, which they called Goofy Kicking Donald Duck. And if you look at that district, it literally does look like that. It's not a stretch.
Oh,
and of course,
you squiggle the lines. You wipe out certain people, you put in certain people. And it has nothing to do with good government or good politics or an even race. I mean, maybe Nick knows this word. If I ever had my druthers, this was a word my grandmother used, and I never knew what exactly is a druther.
What is a druther?
Like lilting, right?
What is it?
Yeah, or towny.
Or
Tony.
But if you said,
if you had your druthers, I guess.
If you had your druthers, usually it means if you had your way.
You're right.
If you had your best desires. My grandmother used that word, and I always thought it was kind of funny. But if I had my druthers, I would draw all 17 congressional districts of Pennsylvania as best I could to make a competitive district everywhere. So the voters would really get a choice between a D and an R. Right now, the district you're in right now is overwhelmingly Republican, and it makes it very hard to defeat the incumbent. The city of Pittsburgh district is overwhelmingly Democratic, making it very hard to defeat the Democratic incumbent. So we do have in Pennsylvania more up for grabs districts than some states do.
Right.
Which is why we're going to be a big battleground next year. Absolutely. And our district lines won't change because nobody can change them. The parties have split control of the legislature.
And usually, redistricting happens in years that end in a 0 or a 1 or a 2. Because of course,
right after the census.
Yep. Exactly. So this is pretty unusual to have one in 2025. There's been times when they haven't been able to come up with the new districts. They've had a delay when those districts would kick in. I would say it's an incredibly small world. A former colleague of mine and on our inspector staff, Pat Meehan, later represented that Goofy Kicks Donald Duck district. And again, folks, Google that and you'll be shocked that how much it actually looks like.
Well, we had a Goofy district here. Do you remember the district that frankly, it was Jack Murtha's district and Mark Kritz and Keith Rothfuss. It was a district that stretched from the Ohio border all the way over to Johnstown, but it knocked out a lot of Democrats to make it a Republican district. So that after Jack Murtha, a Democrat, passed away, Mark Kritz was able to hold it for one term, I believe, and then it went Republican. And it was the most gerrymandered district you can imagine, with snippets of Beaver County and the North Hills and all the way over 150 miles to Johnstown.
Right. I mean, I worked for a state representative at one point in Fayette County, here in Fayette County. Part of our district was in Somerset County. It was quicker to go down to Maryland, take Interstate 68 over to get back up to the other part of the district. That has changed. But they've really tried to address that now, that you're not splitting up municipalities for the most part. Especially.
Well, but mind you, this is only because the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court has enunciated rules about this. This is not nationwide.
Right.
The state Supreme Court is the one that says districts need to be compact. That is, they can't look squiggly all over the place. And they have to have communities of interest. They should not split county lines. I mean, there's a whole lot of rules that the state Supreme Court have set. But legislatures are free to do what they want, and then the courts have to come in, and in some cases, the courts will check and balance them. That won't happen in Texas, where all members of the state Supreme Court are Republican, and they do whatever Donald Trump tells them to do. So no one expects a successful court challenge in Texas. Now, the big problem right now, Doug, as you know, is that the Democrats, this is a call for a special legislative session, the Democrats have escaped the state. They've gone to Illinois, they've gone to New York, they've gone to Massachusetts, and so there's no quorum to hold business. And Governor Greg Abbott, the Republican governor who does what Trump tells him to do, has now ordered the arrest of these legislators who are in other states and to drag them back to Texas. Legally, I don't know if that's doable. I don't know quite how they do that because the Texas Rangers don't have any authority in Illinois. So we'll see what happens.
It's interesting whether the federal prosecutors would somehow get involved in something like this.
Well, there's been you've hit the nail on the head. There's been a request. As you know, Trump has politicized the Justice Department now so that it does his bidding. And there's been a request, I believe, by the Texas lieutenant governor who's running for U.S. Senate in Texas. There's been a request that he use the FBI to track down these legislators and drag them back to Texas. The legislators have every right to leave the state, just like you and I have the right to leave Pennsylvania. So it's hard for me to imagine how they can make a case out of this. But, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, the Texas legislature is very unique, too. Well, I shouldn't say unique, but very different than what we're used to in Pennsylvania, where the legislature meets year-round. The Texas legislature only meets every other year, in odd-numbered years, for 140 days, unless a special session is called.
Yeah, and they will meet again, but the governor has the right to keep calling them back into special session. So even if this session fails because they can't get a quorum, he can wait for these Texas Democratic lawmakers to return and then call another session again.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
We're talking with John Delano, political analyst and, of course, longtime member of KDKA's news team as the Money and Politics editor. Of course, congressional districts change so much over the years. In our lifetimes, John, Pennsylvania has lost 10 congressional districts. There were 27 in the 60s. Now there's 17.
At one time we had even more. We had in the 30s. But I remember the 27th congressional district because I lived in it when I was a little boy. It was in the South Hills of Pittsburgh, represented by Congressman James G. Fulton.
Sure.
I don't know if that means anything for you.
Fulton. I remember the name Fulton. Sure, he was. He would have been my congressman at that time as well.
Well, Jim Fulton is also known. He purchased the ends of the bridges that were in place before they were torn down to put in the Fort Pitt Bridge and the Fort Duquesne Bridge. He owned those piers for a while. I don't know who owns them now, but there's just a little funny stories about. Jim Fulton was a strong Republican,
right?
But he was considered very much a moderate Republican.
The south side of course, the Mon River, the bridge connected right where the fountain is at the point. That's where those bridges originally touched and then went across.
Yep.
And of course, they took those out. One of those bridge abutments now was hauled out, and it has a statue of Fred Rogers in the middle of it now. That's one of those same bridge abutments. And of course, he bought them just.
Who owns them, Doug? Who owns those piers? That pier now?
I'm not sure. Perhaps the
city,
I guess.
Somebody.
I'm not sure, somebody. But there's a great statue of Fred Rogers in the middle of one because they hauled it out the middle.
Yeah.
And it makes a rather interesting framing for that. John Delano joining us here. John, you've given us extra time. We appreciate it.
Hey, it's been great talking to you, Doug. Happy, what is it, Wednesday?
It's Wednesday.
Now that I'm retired, I lost track of time.
I told my brother one day, have a nice weekend. He said, it doesn't mean anything. I'm retired. I'm like, yeah, thanks a lot.
That's kind of how I feel. But it's good to be with you and all your listeners. And stay well, everybody.
All right, take care. John Delano joining us on the afternoon drive show. We're going to take a break here, wrap things up. 7 o'clock news, the national news coming up. The 7 o'clock CBS News late edition. Give me something. There's a longer
World News Roundup.
World News Roundup late edition coming up at 7. But first, this is the afternoon drive show on WMBS.
Chris Parker Jr., what's going on at Autoland?
The Hyundai Getaway sales event is back, and so is 0% financing. Get away with a fantastic deal on a great new Hyundai. Here at Autoland, we're lowering prices on the 25s before the 2026 Hyundais arrive, and offering above Blue Book value on all trades. All this, plus incredible incentives and financing offers from Hyundai.
I'm listening.
We still have a great selection of those 25 all-wheel drive SUVs with the 0%, the full-size luxury third-row 2025 Palisade, and the redesigned third-row 2025 Santa Fe, both with an amazing 0% financing for 60 months. Or choose up to $3,500 off HMS bonus cash on select Santa Fe. Check out the fuel-efficient 2025 Hyundai Elantra SE with 2.99% financing or lease for $229 per month.
Plus Hyundai Owner Assurance, America's best warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection with every new Hyundai purchased, and 3-year, 36,000-mile free complimentary maintenance. Autoland Hyundai, downtown Uniontown, or visit their website at AutolandHyundai.com.
You always pay less to drive the best at Autoland Hyundai.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
When it's sweltering outside, you'll be cool inside with central air conditioning from Bryant, the people that know cool. And it's easy to have a central air conditioning system installed in your home. Simply call on your Bryant dealer, Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, located near the Laurel Mall on Route 119, north of Uniontown. The phone number is 439-2323. Let Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning rescue you from the sticky, humid summer weather. Remember that number for Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, 439-2323.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
WMBS.
7 o'clock news coming up, the World News Roundup, late edition on CBS, followed by an update of your weather forecast here. With you till 8 o'clock tonight, a longer than normal show today. Yesterday, we were only on for an hour due to the Pirate game, but we'll make up.
Glorious.
We'll make up. It was glorious. We'll make up that hour tonight. We were talking with John Delano a moment ago, and he said, if I had my druthers, which is a classic old term that grandmothers tend to use.
Oh, yeah.
So here it is on the inner tubes. Druthers is an informal American English noun typically used in the phrase if one had one's druthers, which means if they had their choice. The word evolved from the phrase I'd rather and can be considered a alteration of would rather, and it appeared in literature such as Mark Twain's Tom Sawyer Detective. Additionally, druthers is the name of a restaurant chain that was once known as Burger Queen.
Is that real?
It's what you call, according to...
It's on the internet.
It must be true. The
Gotta
company
be.
changed its name in 1981 and also rebranded its restaurants. And while the original Burger Queen Druthers chain
Burger Queen
has mostly disappeared, one former franchise in Campbellsville, Kentucky...
Did it used to be Dairy King?
I don't know. Remains independently owned, and there's also a Druthers Brewing Company in New York.
Wow.
That's a separate
Druthers.
entity. And as Paul Harvey would have said, and now you know the rest of the story. Good day.
I'm Paul Harvey.
I need a thing like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll have to get one of
we'll
those
get you one.
things.
Yeah. There's
Good
a host
day.
here who wraps up his show with a little thing. You could get a little thing, little
Who's that?
poem.
Sapienza.
No, our Hillbilly.
Oh,
John.
Hillbilly. Yeah, he has his own phrase. He
He has
says
his
it all
own
the
turns
time.
of phrases at the end
That's
of
right.
the show. You need one of those.
Yeah, I have to work on that.
Yeah, you can write it. I'm not interested.
And you're not interested in doing that?
I'm
Don't we have an
Unless I
intern? The
get
intern
paid.
should do
The
that.
intern can do it for free.
CBS News coming up here. Then we're going to talk with Rachel Langen with the Commonwealth Foundation and our good friend Keith Schmidt. All that coming up in the third hour of the Afternoon Drive Show. On a Wednesday, Jerome will be running the place when we come back after the news on your local station, WMBS, Uniontown.
U.S. soldiers shot on an East Coast base.
All of those who were shot are expected to be okay.
U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff in Moscow.
Had a good meeting with Vladimir Putin.
a $100 billion big tech commitment to the U.S.
And this is the largest investment Apple has ever made.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Jennifer Kuiper. The Fort Stewart base in Georgia was put on lockdown earlier. Authorities say an Army sergeant pulled out a personal handgun and shot 5 fellow soldiers. Brigadier General John Lubas says the suspect is in custody.
The shooting occurred at the soldier's place of work. It did involve his co-workers. We're still not certain about the motivations.
CBS's Skylar Henry is at Fort Stewart.
The suspected gunman, 28-year-old Cornelius Radford, opened fire here on base. Essentially a workplace shooting, for lack of a better phrase, injuring 5 of his fellow soldiers before being subdued by other soldiers who happened to see what was going on, tackling him and waiting for law enforcement to then arrive.
President Trump says he's open to meeting with Russia's President Putin and Ukraine's leader Zelensky.
There's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
The comment comes after U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff's meeting with Putin in Moscow to discuss the war in Ukraine. CBS's Erica Brown reporting.
In a social media post, President Trump called the meeting highly productive and said great progress was made. Still, a senior administration official tells CBS News additional sanctions against Russia are still expected to go into effect Friday if a deal isn't reached to end the 3.5-year war.
Apple announces a new $100 billion commitment to manufacturing in the U.S. for a total of $600 billion. President Trump announcing the investment while also saying he plans to put a 100% tariff on computer chips, which could mean more expensive electronics, vehicles, and household appliances.
We're going to be putting a very large tariff on chips and semiconductors. But the good news for companies like Apple is if you're building in the United States or have committed to build, without question committed to build in the United States, there will be no charge.
Jen Powell put on the ump vest and mask and made calls at MLB spring training games in 2024.
This one chopped foul, and that one is called by the third base umpire, Jen Powell. Jen Powell, a female umpire.
This weekend, Powell is set to become the first woman to umpire in the big league when she works games this weekend between the Miami Marlins and the Atlanta Braves. Stocks jump on Wall Street. The Dow closed up 81 points. NASDAQ gained 253 points. Now this.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
4 aid trucks in Gaza flipped over on crowds of people desperately hoping to get food and much-needed supplies. Sources on the ground say medics have struggled to deal with casualties. BBC's Yolande Nell.
Crowds of desperate people and local gangs appear to have surrounded the convoy as it travelled on a badly damaged road, with one report saying that a rocket-propelled grenade was fired.
This comes as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to announce further military action in Gaza. A man accused of killing 2 Israeli embassy staffers in Washington, D.C. is indicted on federal hate crime charges. Elias Rodriguez faces 9 counts, including hate crime resulting in death, which could clear the way for the Justice Department to seek the death penalty. Rodriguez is accused of killing Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram in May, reportedly shouting Free Palestine during his arrest. Prosecutors say Rodriguez planned the attack, flying from Chicago with a handgun. You're listening to the CBS World News Roundup.
Do you know how America became the best country on God's green earth? We made things, from automobiles to airplanes to textiles. We were the manufacturing epicenter of the world, the innovators that every other country turned to. I'm Katie Lyon, co-founder of Allegiance Flag Supply, and I'm here to tell you that the American spirit is alive and well at Allegiance, where we make American flags 100% in America. When you fly your American flag from Allegiance Flag Supply, you're not just honoring our country. You're supporting American men and women who proudly make the highest quality American flags, period. True patriots who put care into every stitch. See our full story at showallegiance.com and learn about our 100% American-based supply chain. Fly your flag from showallegiance.com with pride, because every flag says manufacturing is still alive and well in the U.S. and we are still the greatest country. Save $35 on your American flag set when you go to showallegiance.com.
Quite a find in Dresden, Germany, by a crew cleaning up after a bridge collapse. CBS's Errol Barnett.
An unexploded bomb from the Second World War was discovered overnight near tracks just outside of central Paris. Eurostar services have also been affected, with trains between London and Paris now cancelled.
Some 17,000 people were asked to leave their homes in the eastern German city. Serving up some not-so-hot news about French fries is our Michael Toscano.
Eating 3 servings of French fries a week is associated with a 20% increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. That's according to new research just published by the medical journal, the BMJ. And there's even more bad news for potatoes generally, no matter how they're prepared. If you eat whole grains instead, except white rice, you'll likely have a lower risk of type 2 diabetes. The findings are statistical, based on observing over 200,000 people between 1984 and 2021. Michael Toscano, CBS News.
Time of the roundup, 7 minutes past the hour.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to goodrx.com/GLP. That's goodrx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
The workers who hand you hot dogs, pretzels, and more at Boston's Fenway Park are threatening to go on strike a second time. CBS's Michael Wallace with the latest.
The union and the food service provider Aramark have not met since workers walked off the job during a 3-game homestand last month. Union leader Carlos Aramayo says they're prepared to walk out again if Aramark doesn't return to the negotiating table.
There's no way at a baseball park like this, with an ownership group like the Red Sox that have so much money, that we should have people making poverty wages.
During last month's strike, Aramark hired replacement workers, but apparently not enough.
I saw an ice cream line. There was probably at least like 75 people in line.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The U.S. is auctioning off a $325 million yacht in the first American sale of a seized Russian luxury ship since the start of Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. The auction comes as President Trump pressures Vladimir Putin to end the war. That's the World News Roundup Late Edition for Wednesday, August 6, 2025. I'm Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
The WMBS Weather Watch brought to you by Maloney's on West Main Street, Uniontown, serving delicious, authentic Italian entrees and Maloney's since 1950. The WMBS Weather Watch for all of southwest Pennsylvania. Overnight low 64, 82 Thursday with sun, 83 Friday. More sun, even warmer Saturday at 88. Overnight low at 65, up to 90 Sunday. Overnight low 67, 92 on Monday, Tuesday. Chance of thunderstorms at 88 next Wednesday, up to 89. The WMBS Weather Watch brought to you by Maloney's. They're on West Main Street. Give them a ring for specials. Ask about their popular banquet facility and banquet menu for your next special event in Maloney's at 724-437-2061. That's 724-437-2061 for Maloney's of Uniontown. And this is your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS, WMBS590.com. Keep it tuned to your local station, Fayette's first and finest, WMBS.
Pizza King's in Connellsville is your go-to lunch and dinner spot with a full menu of mouth-watering pizzas and so much more. Using a deck oven helps our pizzas stay extra crisp, so if you haven't tried a slice lately, What are you waiting for? From our 50-slice King Carnivore to veggie pizzas and even pickle pizzas, Pizza King has the pie to match your taste. Pizza King's, 1046 Morrell Avenue in Connellsville. Call 724-626-8343 or visit pizzakingswithaz.com.
Warm weather is here, and with it, the incredible farmers markets of Fayette County, providing the freshest selection of seasonal produce and a whole lot more, including handcrafted soaps, candles, breads, sweet treats, jewelry, canned goods, and wine. Literally something for everyone. Put your health, wellness, and happiness first by visiting an area farmers market this week. Farmers markets include, but are not limited to, the Mountain Area Farmers Market, held on an assortment of Fridays throughout the summer from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Farmington Volunteer Fire Department. The Uniontown Farmers Market, held weekly on Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to noon in Bailey Park. The Connellsville Farmers Market, held weekly on Thursday evenings from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Eastside Fire Station on Arch Street, and so much more. So, for more details, visit the WMBS Facebook page each Wednesday for a complete farmers market roundup. Make wellness a priority. Eat healthy and shop local. And make it a habit to visit the farmers market nearest you.
Tune in to WMBS Saturday mornings at 8:20 for Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, certified financial planner, investment advisory representative, syndicated columnist, and author, as he addresses such income issues as planning for retirement, future healthcare expenses, avoiding financial pitfalls, and much more. That's Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, Saturday mornings at 8:20 right here on WMBS, or Gary Boatman welcomes your calls at 724-243-3075. That's 724-243-3075.
This is a Radio PA news update. Gas prices across Pennsylvania are higher this week than they were last week. That's according to AAA, which says the average cost per gallon is up by about 6 cents compared to last week, currently at $3.25 per gallon. Prices across the Commonwealth still remain higher than the national average. 2 people are dead after a house fire in York County Sunday. Officials say a man and woman were found unconscious inside a home in Stewartstown that went up in flames around 6 a.m. They were both taken to a hospital where they later died. The cause of that fire is under investigation. 2 Pittsburgh firefighters are recovering from injuries following a weekend fire in the city's Hazelwood neighborhood. Emergency crews were first called to a row home on Chaplain Way around 7 Saturday evening after flames were reported inside. Officials say that blaze spread to 3 other units, displacing several families. One firefighter reportedly suffered burns to his wrists. Another had to be treated for smoke inhalation. SEPTA has given the public a list of things that are to be expected come August 24th. Juan Arango has more.
SEPTA is set to launch major service cuts and fare hikes starting Sunday, August 24th. Riders will see a 20% drop in service across buses, trolleys, subways, and regional rail, just as Philadelphia students return to school. Fares will rise over 21%, with a base fare jumping to $2.90. 32 bus routes will be eliminated, others shortened or reduced in frequency. SEPTA cites a $213 million deficit and delayed state funding as the reason behind the cuts.
Music Fest keeps rocking on after a successful opening weekend. Dozens of artists set to take the stage today at the nation's largest free music festival. Tonight's headliner is the Black Crowes with special guest the band Feel. That show's scheduled to begin at 8 at the Wind Creek Steel Stage. I'm John Schaefer, and you're up to date with Radio PA.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. You're lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Welcome back to the third hour of the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I once said, I say the second half or the third half for the second hour, and then I used to say the fourth, and then somebody said, that doesn't make sense. Just stop it.
No, just stop it. It's your tribute to Car Talk, which is great.
That's right. It's
Click and Clack.
Click and Clack, the Tapper brothers. Tom and Ray Madrick. I can never remember their names. Ray's still with us. Tom passed away.
And they were geniuses, right? PhDs.
Oh, not like MIT, Harvard. One was a professor at Harvard at one point. Kind of crazy, goofy. Those guys, and I don't know if anybody ever learned about cars listening to those shows, but they were funny as heck.
Yes,
they loved to laugh. They told great stories. My favorite was when they interviewed a woman. She said her husband was an actual cowboy, worked on a ranch, and he borrowed her car one day and left the windows open. And during the course of the day, a horse ate her steering wheel. You can't top that. That's pretty good.
You cannot. That's great. That's amazing.
Okay. Joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, right out of the break here, folks, we're pleased to have her on, the Senior Education Policy Analyst for the Commonwealth Foundation here in Pennsylvania, Rachel Langen. Rachel, thank you very much for joining us tonight. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
The Commonwealth Foundation recently did a report, an analysis, I guess is one way to look at it, that the Pennsylvania Department of Education is violating state and federal laws surrounding persistently dangerous schools. So that's right off your website. I didn't say that all by myself. But tell us what that means and what the issue is beyond what's obvious, of course.
Okay. It's a little bit complicated. The overarching concept is that federal and state law requires that when students attend a persistently dangerous public school, that the school district provide them with a safe school alternative, either within their own school district or within a neighboring school district. Pennsylvania is not doing that. It gets a little bit more complex. The next question is, well, what is a persistently dangerous school? And this is where the problem comes in that in Pennsylvania, we define persistently dangerous as a series of incidences that are violent. Sexual assault, simple assault, rape, bomb threats, aggravated assault, knife stabbings, weapons, et cetera, et cetera. However, a district only has to consider an incident as violent if it results in arrest. So this encourages districts to turn a blind eye to violence or encourages underreporting. So if you look at the hard data, you will see districts that have literally thousands of incidences, but they will have a handful of arrests, which statistically is not possible, yet it is happening. So there is a loophole in the law that if an incident is not resulting in arrest, it doesn't have to be counted. And I'm a mom to 5 kids, and I can tell you as a parent, my concern is that the incidents are happening in the first place, not whether or not that results in arrest.
Yeah. Just 3 months ago, the U.S. Department of Education directed states to update their definitions of persistently dangerous. So explain what the U.S. Department of Education did. How did they require that these definitions be updated?
So the U.S. Department of Education sent what is known as a Dear Colleague letter to every school district, well, actually to the State Department of Education, in each state, suggesting to them that they need to redefine persistently dangerous based on things like community crime statistics, based on the number of incidences that occur rather than just basing it on arrests. And they also required states, or I would say strongly suggested to states, that they need to notify parents if their child is attending a dangerous school and that they need to provide a safe school alternative. So when we at the Commonwealth Foundation saw this directive go out, we said, let's put in a right-to-know request and see if the state is complying. And sure enough, they are not.
And you mentioned a moment ago a right-to-know request. Explain, some of our listeners may not know what that is. Explain what that is that you put in the right-to-know request.
So it's also known as Freedom of Information Act. Pennsylvania refers to it as a right-to-know request. I'm not sure why we call it something different. But it basically says that any government record belongs to the people and that any government agency, whether that's your local township or borough, your school district, your State Department of Agriculture, Health, whatever, any state agency, police departments, anything that receives public funding, that those agencies are the keeper of the records, but that they must share those with the public either in a public way on a web page or in a report. And if they don't share it and a taxpayer has a question, that they can put in a request and have that information given to them because they are a taxpayer.
Yeah. FOIA, what you said a moment ago, the Freedom of Information Act, that's where I think most states, certainly the federal government, there's a federal law called the Freedom of Information Act, and most states use that terminology, but I guess we're basically talking about the same thing, a right-to-know law or a Freedom of Information Act. Basically the same thing. Each state's going to interpret it differently, but generally speaking, we're talking about the same type of request, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. It's interesting here too about the state. Who would enforce this then? Would it take the U.S. Department of Education to then lean on Pennsylvania, for lack of a better term, saying you're not providing the right information, even though somebody's not being arrested? This is still a dangerous event.
That's an excellent question. The way the Trump administration has been operating is to kind of go in and shake things up for different agencies. And the pattern seems to be that they will say or do something, wait to see if there's compliance, and if not, they will circle back and there will be some sort of consequence for not complying. The directive that the U.S. Department of Education issued in May did not have a deadline. So we're in limbo, so to speak. So it will be curious to see what happens in the next weeks and months when the U.S. Department of Education starts looking state by state to see who's complying and who isn't. Trump recently in July and June, cut a bunch of federal funds, recently reinstated them. That seems to be the way he operates. So it would not surprise me if federal funding gets cut for states who are not complying. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, of course, the administration, the Trump administration has said the ultimate goal is to shut down the Department of Education, but they made it clear that funding that comes to the government, from the federal government, in many cases would still flow into the states, but through a different process, I suppose, correct, to another department.
Right.
Right. It's interesting when you take a look at, of course, Pennsylvania has an Office of Open Records that technically falls under the administration. I think it started in the Rendell administration, if I have that right. But at the same time, it does fall within the administration's, I guess, umbrella. It is supposed to operate independently, so that if an administration, maybe holds back information, that this Office of Open Records sort of steps, in. And is sort of the advocate for those requesting the records. Is that correct?
Yes. And I would say as a taxpayer, I have been utilizing right-to-know requests for over 5 years. Well, I would say around 5 years, starting during the COVID pandemic. And now I do that as part of my job as Commonwealth Foundation. And I would say it's about 50-50 how partisan the Office of Open Records is when they're making a determination.
Yeah. It's interesting. An agency, regardless what agency it is in government, can ask a requester for information why they're asking for it, but the requester does not have to answer that question. So I think it's rather interesting. When you've gone about getting information, and we'll use this one as an example, was there any pushback, or were there any issues trying to get that information about which schools have had these dangerous incidents?
There was no pushback. There was quite a bit of redacted information, and that is pretty typical when you put in a right-to-know request. Anything that they deem sensitive, they will just black it out on the paper, and you'll get a bunch of black sheets of paper. Or you might get, a series of emails, but the people's names are blacked out, or any sensitive topics. And whether or not those are actually sensitive, no one knows.
Right.
Only the people blacking it out. And they usually do that under direction from a lawyer. Right. And you, as the requester, can appeal to the Office of Open Records if you say, I really want to see this information, and here's why I think it's relevant. And then they'll do what's called an in-camera review, where the agency would have to send it to the Office of Open Records, and they would determine if indeed it is something that is protected or private, or if it's something that should be made public.
I guess in a case like this, there might be students' names that are listed who would be minor, under 18. Perhaps that would be a reason for redacting something coming from a request like this. It's interesting, though. It's sort of off the topic of what we're discussing here, but this idea of getting information, it's certainly a lot easier now than it once was, when it was practically impossible to get information from a government agency. Or they said, okay, yes, you can have this 1,000-page report. It costs $1 a page to print them up for you.
Yes.
And that's been addressed too, correct?
Correct. It's almost always electronic. I have had cases where they've said it's so much information you need to pay for a thumb drive, and we'll give you the documents on a thumb drive. And I did have one case as a taxpayer, not through the Commonwealth Foundation, where they wouldn't give it to me on a thumb drive, and I had to go and pick it up in person. I think they just wanted, honestly, I think that was maybe an act of intimidation on their part. I'm not certain. But there would seem to be no reason that they wouldn't be able to give it to me electronically, because this was probably 2022. So it's a mixed bag every time you put in a right to know request, what you're going to get and how cooperative the agency will be.
Right. The findings by the Commonwealth Foundation, and by the way, we are speaking with Rachel Langan, who's the Senior Education Policy Analyst with the Commonwealth Foundation. And remind me at some point, I want you to explain what the foundation is, and we do that every time we interview you or one of your colleagues. But it said, as of 2025, the Pennsylvania Department of Education has indicated there were 0 schools with persistently dangerous distinctions. That seems almost impossible. The safest schools at some point have a dangerous situation, correct? And explain what that means by distinction, a persistently dangerous distinction.
Right. So the Department of Education does collect data from each school district where they list the type of incidences that they have. And that's where you can really see what type of incidences are occurring. Is it fighting? Is it weapons possession? Is it bombs? Is it assault of teachers? Is it sexual assault? That you can really, it does break it down. No identifying information for students. But again, they only base a designation of dangerous on the school if the incident results in an arrest. And most often it doesn't. This incentivizes schools to not arrest students because it jeopardizes their safety status. So they are finding ways around that one way or another.
With barking in the background, we continue our conversation with Rachel Langan. That's okay. We like that sort of thing on live radio. It makes it more interesting, Rachel. So don't yell at your dog after the interview. We have no problem with that at all. There was a 24-year longitudinal study, and first off, I'm going to ask what that means, longitudinal study, but showed that over 71% of Philadelphia public schools are persistently dangerous, and over 89% of Pittsburgh public schools are persistently dangerous. Those just seem like mind-boggling numbers. But again, what does that mean, a longitudinal study? This one, 24 years.
Yes. So a professor at Carnegie Mellon University, his name is Robert Strauss, an amazing researcher. He worked with his students to gather the publicly available safety data from Pennsylvania for 24 school years in a row. And he looked at the schools that year after year had a high number of dangerous incidences or a high percentage, because some schools might have a really small student population, but they would have a relatively high number of dangerous incidences occur. But if you're comparing that to a large school, it's not an apples to apples comparison. So he looked at that data for 24 years and said, these schools, I'm going to say there's about 20, are amongst the most dangerous in Pennsylvania, because for 24 years in a row, they have had consistently dangerous incidences occur, yet are not listed as dangerous by the Pennsylvania Department of Ed.
Now that your foundation has indicated that the Department of Education is failing to comply with the law, what's the next step that the Commonwealth Foundation is going to take, or perhaps other entities?
Well, we have disseminated our report to lawmakers Pennsylvania lawmakers, U.S. congressmen, and then we have also sent it on to the U.S. Department of Education, and we'll see if they decide they want to pursue. So we're just in a holding pattern at the moment.
And ultimately, this could really affect federal funding coming in, correct?
Potentially, yes.
Wow, that's quite a step. Tell us about the Commonwealth Foundation, if you would.
Sure. The Commonwealth Foundation is a nonprofit think tank. We are based in Harrisburg, and we work on free market ideas. So we take policies, ideas, and turn them into laws. So we work with other organizations and with lawmakers to draft and get policies put into place that help all Pennsylvanians to thrive.
Yeah. Rachel Langen from the Commonwealth Foundation, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks.
CBS News Brief coming up here in about 5 seconds. Then we're going to talk to Keith Schmidt. Haven't checked in with him in a couple of months.
CBS News Brief. An Army sergeant is accused of shooting 5 fellow soldiers before being tackled and arrested at Fort Stewart in Georgia. CBS's Skylar Henry with more on Sergeant Cornelius Radford.
Officials say that Radford opened fire with his personal weapon, not his military service one. So they are still working to figure out exactly what prompted all of this. We know that he has been interviewed, has been questioned.
Shortly after a meeting in Moscow between his special envoy Steve Witkoff and Russian President Putin, President Trump says he could soon meet with the presidents of Russia and Ukraine. CBS's Erica Brown.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he spoke with President Trump about the Witkoff meeting and reaffirmed his country's support for a lasting and reliable peace with Russia.
Trump calls Apple's latest investment a significant step toward ensuring that iPhones sold in the U.S. are made here.
Today, Apple is announcing that it will invest $600 billion, that's with a B, in the United States over the next 4 years.
CBS News Brief, I'm Jennifer.
Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors, where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items, including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
Say hello to fall. Your flair, your way. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown, located in the State Farm Building rear. We're known for our distinguished Western, Southwest, and boho accessories, including custom and concealed carry handbags. But we offer a large variety of fashionable styles. And just refreshed for fall, we have an amazing selection of spiny oyster, turquoise, nickel silver, copper, and gemstone fun fashion jewelry. And we're so excited to bring you affordable indulgence. 24% lead crystals wrapped in tarnish-free silver and gold wire for enhanced clarity, brilliance, and sparkle. These bracelets, pendants, earrings, and bands are stunning and show-stopping, to say the least. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown, 724-557-6184. Open Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 5. Not high-end, just nice-end. Strap, you're sure to adore us, and you'll love our prices.
Aloha, Pirates fans. That Hawaiian island feeling takes over the city of Pittsburgh August 8th through the 10th when the Pirates host the Cincinnati Reds. It's another Bucko Luau weekend presented by Levin Furniture. On Friday, fans can take home a bucket hat inspired by the weekend. Then Saturday, it's the fan favorite Hawaiian shirt giveaway. And Sunday, all kids 14 and under take home a Pirates cap. It's the Pirates and Reds, August 8th through the 10th. Get your tickets at pirates.com.
Concerned about your heart health? At WVU Medicine, we believe your heart deserves world-class care, close to home and always within reach. Our non-invasive cardiology team uses advanced tests like stress tests and cardiac MRI to diagnose and monitor heart conditions without surgery. Call 877-WVU, the number 4HRT, or visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Attention, active and retired coal miners. Have you been screened for black lung? Here at the Black Lung Clinic at Centerville Clinics, we offer yearly screenings, diagnosis, education, and treatment options to help you live a fuller, healthier life. We provide care regardless of your ability to pay. Call Centerville Clinics today at 724-632-6801. Do it today.
That's the Rolling Stones, man, bringing us out of the break. Saw the Stones a few years ago at, was it still Heinz Field then? I can't remember.
Yeah, they each had an ambulance. They froze them out.
They froze them, and then we'll thaw them out for the next concert. At the end of the show that night, and Keith and Mick were 78.
Oh.
They said, see you soon. And they're back on tour, I guess.
Back. And Mick, I think, keeps having children.
Yeah, he's up to 9 or 10.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind being one of Mick's kids.
That's amazing. He's got kids in preschool and a girlfriend in high school. So he's living large, man.
and he's got grandkids who get Social Security, I believe.
That's right.
Or close to it.
College, not high school. He's not dating underage girls.
I would know. Yeah,
they're very young.
Don't get us sued.
I don't want to get Mick Jagger suing us.
We don't want to make Mick Jagger look bad.
No, of course not.
Leave that up to him.
Don't start me up.
I want to thank Rachel Langen for joining us a few moments ago from the Commonwealth Foundation. Again, check out their website. And now I'll forget what it is. But if you Google Commonwealth Foundation, no doubt you'll find out what it is. We don't usually go more than a month without talking to our next guest. And I looked on my show notes. I don't think we've talked to Keith since May. It's a shame. I'm embarrassed about the whole thing. Political analyst, of course, and president of Bridge Connections, Keith Schmidt. How are you, Keith? Good to talk to you.
I thought I was on the naughty list or something.
Was it May? I must have really screwed up
my
here.
My old pal,
yeah.
Usually a regular caller to me, and we have a chat around once a month. But
yeah.
Now, hey, summer hits for traveling. I know I miss talking to your listeners, and I'm glad you gave me the opportunity this evening.
I stand completely correct on that one. My deepest apologies. Let's talk about Pennsylvania's junior senator. You and I, over the years, you worked for Rick Santorum. I worked for Arlen Specter. I had Dave McCormick on last week, and we said, when I worked for the senator, we had a lot of pretty big events. The president would come in, vice president, cabinet secretaries, etc. I never saw anything like the event that Dave McCormick had at CMU. I was talking to our mutual friend Dick Jewell, who said he never saw so many billionaires in one place ever. He said,
the staging was impressive. I mean, it was the audience was the world, and the world was watching, and the world got to see firsthand, Pittsburgh taking a front row seat in this discussion, and only somebody with the gravitas of a Mike McCormick, of the Dave McCormick, could do that. I mean, he delivered early in his term. It tells you his unique footing in this administration. And for the first time in a long time, I think we might have mentioned this last time I was on, Doug, that, after the Murthas and the Schusters and the Specters and the Santorums are gone, and John Hines for many years, you, Scott, there were giants in the congressional delegation. But we went for around a generation in Pennsylvania politics with our senators really not being a known commodity around the country. Somebody from California or Texas or Alabama or Alaska didn't know who our senators were, like they did when Specter was in and Santorum and others like him. But I can tell you, this is changing. David McCormick's changing all that. He's got a front row seat. People around the country recognize his influence. And Pennsylvania, for the first time in almost a generation, is back on the map in the United States Senate.
Mm. And when you're talking about two senators from the same state who are polar opposites on many of their issues, they seem to be genuinely friendly with one another, or generally friends, Dave McCormick and John Fetterman. It's interesting to see them. They've gone up to Harvard and had discussions with an audience who I'm sure wasn't all that friendly to Dave McCormick. But it's fascinating that Dave has said, no, I'm going to work with this guy. He's my colleague in the U.S. Senate. I'm not going to fight with the guy. And
there's two houses of when you're in office. There's the state business and there's the D.C. business. And I can understand we're on policy and on legislation. there could be stark differences. But in the end, delivering for Pennsylvania, delivering your fair share of the pie, making sure that we get our what is due to the fifth largest state in the union, and we help people of all walks, in all walks of life, businesses, small and large, nonprofits, business districts. That actually goes beyond politics, and that's when you put your politics of Washington aside and work together for the state. And the good news is it looks like these two will be able to do just that. As much as they'll disagree in Washington, D.C., they'll join forces to make sure that the people of Pennsylvania get their fair share of the federal pie.
Yeah, and of course, they never actually ran against each other. Dave McCormick wanted to. Arlen Specter told me this story, and I'm guessing he probably put it in his memoirs, that when you mentioned Hugh Scott, Senator Hugh Scott, who finished his term in January in 1977 when Jack Hines was elected U.S. Senate. And, of course, Hugh Scott was the Republican leader. He was one of the ones that went into the Oval Office and told Richard Nixon, you don't have the votes, you better resign. So when you have a role that strong. But, of course, a lot of people forget, in 1976, Arlen Specter and John Hines ran against each other in the Republican primary for the U.S. Senate. A very bitter race, very mean, a lot of negativity. Close race. Hines won by big numbers out here. Specter won by big numbers in the East. And then 4 years later, of course, Arlen Specter was elected to the Senate, and Hugh Scott got the two of them together and said, you can either continue to hate each other or work together. And they worked together. They really did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
And
that's a great story for Pennsylvania.
Right. And aren't too many times when you hear about two U.S. senators who ran against each other 4 years earlier, then suddenly being colleagues on the same side.
And we can comfortably say there are some very stark policy differences between Arlen Specter and Rick Santorum.
Oh, absolutely.
Even when Rick was in leadership. But let me tell you, the two of them fought hard for Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania was the beneficiary of that. They put everything aside when they were fighting for Pennsylvania, and for those 12 years when they were served together, that really proved to be a windfall for our Commonwealth.
Yeah, it was interesting. We talked a moment ago about John Fetterman. Just about a week ago, the relatively new chairman of the Democratic National Committee made some interesting comments, and they seem to be pretty calculated when he said, first off, if John Fetterman chooses to run again and wins the primary, the Democratic National Committee will support him. Two things, throwing the word if in there, and secondly, if he wins the if he runs again and if he wins the primary, which indicates they didn't say they'd support him in the primary. He said they'd support him if he won the primary, indicating that perhaps somebody might run against him in that primary. So I thought that was very telling. And he did not come back later and correct his statement or say, well, I misspoke. There was no correction later. I thought that was very telling by the Democratic National Chair. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I'm fascinated in general about the chatter surrounding Mr. Fetterman in the political debate, and especially about whether there will be a primary challenge, what's going to happen, or there's going to be Republicans that might go his way. Is he going to be a stronger candidate to fall if he survives because he's been throwing bones to Republicans and whatnot? It's all very interesting to talk about, but it's hard to believe that it's on the front burner of anybody when you think that election isn't until 2028.
Right.
And
exactly.
The news cycle for us now changes from breakfast to lunch. And we're now talking about something that is literally 4 years away. I mean, what can happen in the next 4 years in the United States Senate with him personally, with him professionally, with politics in general? It's to even talk about primary challenges and whether the Democrats are going to support him. I guess it's fun to talk about, but it's nonsensical to me because of how quickly the news changes in America. And what we think is important changes. So, I've heard that the Democrats might put up Connor Lamb again. Some other folks are talking about it. Connor Lamb has a risk here. You can lose a close election and be relevant, but if you engage a second time and lose, then it's hard to even have relative strength not only in politics but even to market yourself in business. With any type of gravitas. So the only way I think somebody like a Connor Lamb would risk running again is if all the moons allied, because in the end, as much as he's a controversial figure, he will be an incumbent senator, a Democratic senator from a Democratic state in 2028. So it's I don't know. I'm not sure that it makes for good chatter, but I have a feeling that that race isn't going to be quite the big topic 4 years from now.
Yeah, it's a long way off, and
It's a long way off.
And normally, I ever since you said at 2.5 years out that President Biden would not run for re-election. And we're on Facebook Live, and I have to be careful. I didn't roll my eyes when you said it that day, but I was thinking it, and of course you were correct. In fact, I don't know of anybody on the national stage who was saying it at that point.
No, I think I had a quick interview on NPR. I think I was the first one that suggested it and said that, I know him well enough of all the presidents that I've spent the most time. I've been honored to spend time with him as a senator, a vice president, in his various capacities throughout his career. So I knew Joe Biden, so I knew what didn't seem right. And he did look like he was being managed and manipulated by staff, having been spent, over a generation as a senior staff member in the United States Congress and Senate and running various races at the national level and state level. I knew what a staff role is, and I could tell when somebody's being managed. And I think I recognized all those things because I knew the other Joe Biden. And that Joe Biden was largely gone a year and a half into his term. So, but it's interesting. It's brought up in a lot of interviews, and I'm not happy that I was right about that. Nobody wishes this upon anyone, but it was a very difficult time in American history, and I'm glad that it's in the rearview mirror now because a lot of things could have gone badly. A lot of things could have gone badly.
Yeah,
and luckily, I think we escaped the most of them. But it's a lesson that I think we have to learn. And we need a little bit more disclosure on the health of a sitting president.
It certainly happened 100 years ago, of course, when we had a president have a stroke and hadn't been seen for the last 6 months of his presidency, and quite possibly Edith Wilson was the first female president. They said basically because she was running the show. Nobody saw that President Wilson after he had.
And interestingly enough, it was not the electronic age, but then, as it is now, the White House and the administration largely can be run on a president's signature. He doesn't pick up the phone and call everybody. He doesn't always send them but you get a memo or something with his signature on it. That's as good as gold. And even then, like it is today, the president's signature is a powerful thing. And there's a lot of people that thought, Dr. Biden was also handing stacks of letters to him at the end of the day and having him sign. And there was a lot of people that thought she had a larger-than-life role in that administration. History will all pan out, and we'll see what we learn from this. But Edith Wilson, I think, when the power of the pen and Woodrow Wilson's signature, you're right, pretty much kept government going for the last 6 months of his second term.
Well, actually, I have a constituent just sent me, listen to me, a listener just sent an email to me at Radio Saltzman at gmail.com that says that Wilson's stroke was in September of 1919, which means he served another 15 months with that stroke. I'm way off. I said 6 months. I was way off.
Oh wow! So you're talking about over a year because he didn't leave office until 2020.
Yeah, he retired.
January. Actually, back then it was March.
Right, exactly.
21.
It was March, so you're looking at well over a year and a half. You're right. A lot of people forget that. President, that changed during the Roosevelt administration. He was sworn in March when he first got elected. 4 years later, they started swearing him in January, just simply because of travel back in those days. Or trying to get from one part of the country to the other. It wasn't all that simple. So yeah, that's beyond. I'd forgotten it. I guess I didn't know it was that long. For heaven's sakes, good heavens, a year and a half. Not being seen by anybody except for his personal physician, I suppose, back in those days, as we talked with Keith Schmidt about the latest in politics at the federal and state level. At the state level, we're still struggling to get a budget done. It affects counties, it affects local libraries that aren't getting their funding. We had that in the news earlier today. The budget process went quicker last year. Of course, a few years ago, they didn't get done until the fall. But this is still droning on. I'm not sure if there's any.
Yeah, it's not really being covered in the news because we don't cover it like we used to cover it. It doesn't. They have benchmarks in which they allow certain spending people to still get paid, and that wasn't always the case years ago when we were in government. When they didn't have a budget, people weren't getting paid for a period of time, and that really got the news attention. Right now, I don't think anyone in my neighborhood, if I asked them if there was a state budget, said no one way or the other because it's largely not reported on radio or television. But right now we have an ambitious governor who's staring down re-election next year and has ambitions on higher office. But he needs money, and the reserve and the rainy day funds are pretty down right now. And for an ambitious agenda, maybe different priorities among the Democrats and Republicans on whether that agenda needs to look like in the next few years. But regardless of party, they need millions, tens, hundreds of millions of new funding. And what I would predict is one of the holdups this year is working out the details on regulating skill games finally, which can bring a windfall of somewhere north of $1 billion into the state on an annual basis if we finally figure out regulating. And as far as consumer protection, I believe the time has come to do just that, to make sure these machines aren't accessible to young kids and whatnot. It should be played only in liquor establishments where it can be regulated, like over 21 playing them. But there's a lot of money on the table there.
Yeah,
I mean, a ton of money there. And not only that, now that I'm learning as I talk to people on both sides of the aisle, that's not going to fix the hole. That's going to help. That's going to be a stopgap. But I predict, and let me throw a prediction out there. I think by next spring you're going to have a bill that both the Republicans and Democrats are going to get their arms around to have have recreational marijuana sold in Pennsylvania. Right now, every state that touches Pennsylvania, everything from Delaware to New Jersey to Maryland to West Virginia to Ohio to New York, all have recreational marijuana, and they're all leaving the state to make these purchases and coming back into Pennsylvania. We're losing that revenue. And I think they're going to have to take both these bites. They're going to take, I think, the skill game bite this year, and they're going to legislate a recreational marijuana next year, and that will fill some large budget gaps in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, that's the one thing the governor's been criticized is that money's not going to be available instantly. Regulating skill games.
No, you don't turn on the faucet and start flowing. You're absolutely right.
And regulating recreational marijuana will take 2 or 3 times longer than it would to regulate skill games.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a complicated process here. As we talk with Keith Schmidt, political analyst, president of Bridge Connections, as I always do, I let you take a moment and tell us about your firm. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I always say my buzz line is expanding your reach through our relationships. It says on my car. I'm a bridge builder. We do career development, business development for people, crisis management for both nonprofits and for-profit companies. I try to use my 45 years in government, starting as a teenager as an intern for Ronald Reagan, all the way up to present day, the relationships I've built on both sides of the aisle and in industry and nonprofits to help people out. I mean, I always say whatever I do for my clients, they could probably do for themselves, but because of my unique contact list, I can do it quicker. And if time is money, they look me up. And because of good people like you give me shout-outs, and many people I was able to touch and be introduced to through the years, I've never advertised, but I've always had a nice, set group of great clients that have kept me going and kept me in the arena since leaving office in 2007. So thanks for always giving a shout-out for Bridge Connections. My email is keithschmidt520@gmail.com. And anyone of your listeners that would have any questions or want any additional information, feel free to email me at that address.
There you go.
So thank you, Doug, always for letting me be part of the conversation with your listeners. It's always a good time on this end, and I hope we've educated some people on some of the current events of Pennsylvania politics.
Yeah, and I didn't put you on the do not call list. I promise you that. Let's see here. I guess it wasn't. It was. Let's see here. June 18th was the last time we talked, but that's still too long.
Oh, was it? Oh, well, maybe it wasn't as long as I thought. I thought it was May. If it was June, I don't feel that bad.
June 18th. It's only been 2 months.
Well, listen, I want to talk to you sometime next month, so I'll talk to you after Labor Day.
You got it. We'll talk then.
You take good care. All the best to you.
Have a good evening. All right. Thank you. Keith Schmidt joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show, the late edition. It's about 6 minutes to 8. CBS News coming up at 8. I'm Doug Saltzman. Jerome Schell helping out. Nick Barczyk helping out earlier. Glad to have these guys keeping us on the air. No Pirate baseball game tonight. They lost this afternoon. Gave up 2 runs in the top of the 9th. Had 2 one-run leads. Not quite as bad as giving up 2 9-run leads. But nonetheless, they lost another one today. Stick around. We're going to wrap it up. We'll be right back.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 till 5 and Saturdays 8 till 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Rags a call today at 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
When it's sweltering outside, you'll be cool inside with central air conditioning from Bryant, the people that know cool. And it's easy to have a central air conditioning system installed in your home. Simply call on your Bryant dealer, Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, located near the Laurel Mall on Route 119, north of Uniontown. The phone number is 439-2323. Let Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning rescue you from the sticky, humid summer weather. Remember that number for Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, 439-2323.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323. 439-2323. 439-2323.
This is Attorney Joe Fishko with an important announcement. On June 1, I joined the Quattrini Law Group. We are keeping my Uniontown and Somerset offices. The new law firm will be answering my phone, and they'll be appearing on the radio show and handling most of my cases. I will remain with the firm, but I won't be handling most of my cases on a day-to-day basis. I chose to join the Quattrini Law Firm because their practice is very similar to mine. They are excellent attorneys, and they handle personal injury cases like auto, truck, and motorcycle and industrial accidents. They also handle workers' compensation, along with work-related hearing loss, Social Security disability, and veteran service-connected disability, employment discrimination, and unpaid overtime claims. So you see, everything except the veterans' claims were the things I did. Regina and I have loved representing our clients through the years, and we will miss them. But at this time in our lives, we need to move on and put our clients in who we truly feel will be the best.
Are you looking for personalized healthcare you can trust? At Montgomery Medical, they're accepting new patients.
Hi, I'm Dr. Betty Thomas. Having a primary care provider means better overall health, from preventative care to managing chronic conditions. We're here to support you every step of the way.
That's right. Hi, I'm Jenna Lutzka, a physician assistant. Plus, we have same-day appointments and walk-in same-day care available too. We're here for you.
Join the Montgomery Medical family today by calling 724-569-8100 to schedule your appointment. A family tradition of family medicine.
Stop by and check out the 1908 restaurant and bar at the Uniontown Country Club. Tuesday night is wing night. Enjoy $1 wings and $2 drafts. You can also check out your favorite item from Chef Steven's new menu. The restaurant's open to the public Tuesday through Thursday, 4 to 9 p.m., Friday and Saturday from noon to 9, and Sunday the bar is open from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. with daily specials. If you want to join the Uniontown Country Club team, good news, they're hiring. You can apply 3 different ways. Call 724-550-4258 extension 4. Email Caitlin at uniontowncountryclub.com or stop by 25 Bailey Lane in Uniontown to pick up an application. The summer golf season is here, so why not stop in and get some rounds in and enjoy the nice weather while you're at it. Call 724-550-4258 for golf or restaurant information. It's all happening at the Uniontown Country Club. They hope to see you this summer. After all, you really can't spell Uniontown without you.
WMBS.
That's my favorite band. Bring us out of the break here on the late edition of the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS. Thanks for joining us today, folks. Appreciate the guests who've joined us. Let's see if I can remember them without looking at the sheets. We had Rachel Langen from the Commonwealth Foundation. We had Keith Schmidt, of course. He was just with us a few moments ago. Earlier in the show, Thane Rosenbaum and Matt Piper joined us, both from CBS News.